What time is it?
Tonight, the revolution begins.
I'm expecting a fight, hoping for a war.
We are the Bullet Club.
I am the greatest living professional wrestler alive. One by one, they will all follow me.
Bada boom, realest guys in the world.
How you know?
Feed me more.
Page, Stephanie McMahon said there needed to be a change. You have been asking for a change. Mm-hmm. Well, a change has come. What do you think?
I am over the moon, Eden. Did you hear that crowd out there? They were insane. And you know what? It feels so good to be back with my friends Charlotte and Becky Lynch from NXT. It is like an NXT reunion. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, girls, big night tonight on Raw. What do you think? How are you going to change the division with Paige?
Let me tell you this, Eden, we didn't come here to take part. We came here to take over, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! That's how I feel.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the mat.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leeser.
And this is Wrestlemania episode 152. And my goodness, we have apparently been converged on by so many things at once. This will be promising to be a gigantic show on so many levels.
Oh, I am telling you, and Sean is correct. We have a lot going on in this episode, and we are so excited about it, though, because a lot of this is really interesting stuff and a lot of fun to talk about. One of the things we're going to jump into this week is Battleground. That's right. We are going to preview the whole pay-per-view, go down one by one, match by match, and kind of discuss what we think. We're also going to talk about the G1 tournament. So if you guys are New Japan fans, you don't want to miss that. We're going to cover some of the biggest highlights of the G1 tournament and a few things that we think that, we may get right and a few things that, maybe a point system may kind of affect. So lots of great stuff there. And don't forget, we're also going to talk NXT, Lucha Underground, and Ring of Honor. Plus, we're going to crown a Superstar of the Week. Got a lot of big news, too, this week, guys. We've got some big news when it comes to Lucha Underground and TNA. They've got a little issue between each other. That's going to be some fun conversation. Plus, we have some talk about a certain dead man and when he may or may not appear next in WWE. Don't forget also, guys, we have some special guests that I promised you we were going to have this week, and we are going to be announcing them right now. I'm so happy once again to introduce the fourth co-host of this show, Chris Lemchi. Man, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, it's going pretty good. It's good to be back on the show. You could say that it's once in a lifetime, or I guess in this case, like maybe 40 or 50 times in a lifetime.
Yeah. Awesome. And we have a first-timer on this podcast, a guy that we've all been friends with for a long time, a guy that I've been proud to say have sat in his living room and watched many pay-per-views, and he's got some of the best commentary during a pay-per-view if you ever get a chance to sit down with him. It is Mr. Jacob San Antonio. Man, welcome to the show.
I apologize in advance for any stupid things I say.
Don't apologize. We have Gary on the show, man.
Oh my God!
See? Paul's always there to throw me under the bus. So,
can we just have a 5-minute session on Jacob talking about Rey Mysterio? Because that would make
Kevin Nash, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Please don't. H even.
Yeah, we need to get a special spot in this show, Jacob's Corner, and have him just break it down, whatever he wants to talk about. No holds barred. Man, like I said, we got a big show. So, a lot of things are going on in the wrestling world. So let's not delay. Let's go ahead and jump into all this great stuff. And, of course, don't forget anybody out there listening live on Spreaker, which is the place you can find us live. There is a chat bubble you can come check us out on. And you can, maybe chat amongst each other. And, of course, Sean's always on there. You can chat with him during the show. Maybe ask some questions that way. And if you want to ask questions in person and you want to do it over the phone, you can always call us at, Sean, what's that number?
972-591-8620, as these two fine gentlemen have done already. Apparently the line is unlimited, so you can call whenever you like during the show, talk about whatever, even if we've already talked about it. It's on you.
That's right. And, of course, please don't be offended if we have to let you go for too long. Well, a lot of times we let guests stay on for a whole segment, but man, we've got a full cast here today. We want to be respectful to Jacob, a first-time guy here, we're a big friend of ours, and of course, Chris. So we'd love to hear your comments, but don't expect to stay on a whole segment. Just a pre-warning. Well, Sean, we are going to go ahead and jump into this thing head first, and we are going to talk about some quick hits. So we'll be right back with that.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
All right, guys, let's start off with one of the biggest topics. This is, I guess, technically breaking news for us right now. It depends on who is listening onto this podcast on demand. It's probably old news now to them, but if you're live listening to us, this is some really cool news, very exciting news. Apparently, Jushin Thunder Liger is going to be appearing in the WWE, and that is not on a Raw or SmackDown show. It will actually be on NXT at TakeOver versus Tyler Breeze. This is big news. It also has some implications, maybe with another group, but let's start off right here at this point. How excited are you about seeing Jushin Thunder Liger in a WWE ring, and not only that, facing a guy like Tyler Breeze? Jacob, what do you think about this?
I guess my first question is, at what point do we just stop watching Raw and SmackDown and just start watching NXT only? I mean, really. I'm joking, of course, but I hear about this news and I'm just kind of blown away because it feels like NXT is getting all the positive buzz lately, and part of that is who's running the show and what they're allowed to do. But on the other hand, it's just like every time, it seems like every other week, there's some big name or some big set of news coming straight out of NXT, and it's just like, hey, I'm loving this. But, I mean, it just kind of makes me look at Raw and SmackDown and go, come on, guys, step it up,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's kind of funny. I know, Chris, you probably have called in, and we probably discussed this with you before, but this is great news, and it makes it more interesting for the NXT roster. And, of course, having these kind of matches with different kind of guys that come in here and there. But, I mean, this kind of stuff makes NXT almost better than some of these other shows like Raw and even, some of the other promotions at the times. How excited are you about this move?
Oh, I'm very excited. And, Jacob, I'm already at the point where I don't even watch SmackDown anymore, and I have to just stick to Raw, but I'm all about NXT these days, so I've reached that point. Liger, I think it's his first time being in WWE, right? Of any kind, if he's ever been in the ring at all. That's awesome. Good move on Triple H. I hope this opens up the door for more matches with Liger. If he ever decides to show up on Raw for maybe answer John Cena's open challenge one of these days, depending on what happens at Battleground, that will be amazing.
Yes, it will. Yeah, I just cannot imagine. That'd be too good. But, Paul, I mean, this is going to be great news for you. I know you've been following Liger for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, who better for him to wrestle than Tyler Breeze, who has proven he can work with anybody at any style and make a terrific match happen out of that, no matter who they are. So this is terrific news, especially for Tyler Breeze, because this is a big profile match for him, and I know there's not a ton for him to do in NXT right now with all the indie guys taking over, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if that's like Tyler Breeze's new gimmick, just to wrestle their various guys from Japan that they just bring over?
I would have loved to have been in the room when they told him, hey man, you're going to wrestle Liger. What? What?
I guess my thing is, it's good that he's coming in through NXT because, the last time I can remember a Japanese talent, quote-unquote Japanese talent coming to the WWE, it was Tensai. And yeah, I'd love Liger to have like his little acid spitting thing, or a weird translator guy who doesn't really serve any purpose. But hey, that's why he's on NXT.
Hey, remember we all saw Sensei's debut live. We were there
great.
for that.
It was great. It wasn't great.
No.
I can almost hear the crickets now. This is great, and there's some implications here. Though we're excited about it, but Ring of Honor has had a close relationship with New Japan. They're doing all these great things like Best in the World and those kind of pay-per-views where they basically mix and match their rosters. And so now you're looking at a possibility of Ring of Honor being disapproving of this move, and they're not happy that now Liger is going to be over here and working with WWE. There could be some implications where maybe they cut ties with New Japan and they kind of back away from that deal. How serious do you think this could be? Is this all hearsay? What do you think about this, Chris? I know you kind of follow this stuff pretty closely.
I want to stick with hearsay, but if ROH has some problems with this, then good. I mean, that will force them to be much better. And again, competition's great. Then WWE kind of snatching Liger, it's kind of shots fired, and they'll light a fire in ROH's ass, which would then light a fire WWE and NXT's ass. So it all benefits in general. I mean, I would love, too, for WWE to get more New Japan guys. Like, if the day comes where Nakamura shows up, I would just be happier than a fat kid seeing cake for the first time.
Sean, expound on this. I mean, you were actually the one who kind of explained this to me a little bit, so I'd like for you to expound on this situation.
For one, Liger is a freelancer anyway, so he doesn't have to necessarily have New Japan's blessing to do something like this if he wants to. So, I mean, he could have done this without New Japan saying anything, but considering that New Japan also has that deal with GFW, and they have Kushida showing up on their tapings, and he's going to tag with Saban against a couple guys that I can't remember right now. Shows you how much I'm paying attention to GFW. But anyway, I think that what this really is for ROH is it's like, well, they're already shots fired with them doing TakeOver at the same time as we're doing that Field of Honor show. And then we're doing 3 New Japan guys, then New Japan, I mean, I don't know if maybe ROH thinks that New Japan went behind their back and sent Liger and was like, okay, so now you're helping them get one on us too, when they're already going against us. Like, they might feel like that's a slap in the face. And I can see where, to them, they see it as, well, are you wanting to ruin this? Or, for one, we have to remember that New Japan probably doesn't give a crap. They're going to go to whoever the highest bidder is, and it's not like they send New Japan guys over there constantly. They just happen to have their tour like a couple months ago, and then Watanabe happens to just be over there doing his little journey thing. But they have other deals with other people, and if, let's say, NXT came calling and say that they did want to trade talent or whatever for a little while, or one-shot deals with this guy, one-shot deals with that guy, and WWE is going to pay them more than ROH, I mean, if I'm them, I'm taking the money.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's one of those deals where, you definitely want to take the money, but, it all comes down to, I wonder what the fans are really going to want more. Do they enjoy the New Japan Ring of Honor setup because of the fact that they can get away with a little bit of doing, what they want to do compared to a WWE, which is so red tape, you have to be doing this and having this in a certain set of rules. Jacob, as a fan, what would you rather see? Would you rather see a closer relationship with New Japan with Ring of Honor or WWE?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question. In a perfect world, I wish everybody would get along great with everybody. I guess if I could pick, I would actually say, for right now, I'd prefer a closer relationship with Ring of Honor, and I think it kind of ties into what Chris said. I think one of the biggest problems plaguing the WWE right now is a lack of serious competition, and I don't pretend to think that ROH is going to just turn things around and be like the next big thing, in about a year or so, but I think anything that makes Ring of Honor a bigger deal, not just to the wrestling fan, but maybe even catches the eye of the international fan, is only a good thing for the WWE, because without them having to actually work hard to take somebody else out, The WWE is unimaginative, they're lazy, and they like sitting in echo chambers and letting basically agreeing with themselves on what is a good and bad decision. So I'd say ROH, and hopefully it would light a fire in the WWE to just be better overall.
Yeah, I would hope that WWE would definitely work on that because, they definitely need to get things heated up. I hate the fact that they are able to sit back and do what they want to do because they know they're a monopoly, but they need to have some major competition. Paul, what do you think about this, though? I mean, New Japan, this is pretty much your baby. I know how much you love New Japan wrestling. What would your ideal situation be?
New Japan, like Sean said, they're going to do what's going to make them money. I have a feeling this is very much a one-off thing, especially with, I'm assuming, how well Beast in the East did on the network. Otherwise, I don't think they would be doing this. But ROH would be silly to throw a shit fit over this. Their War of the Worlds and Best in the World shows are their highest drawing show, or some of their highest drawing shows of the year. They make a ton of money off of this. And as long as New Japan is willing to work with Ring of Honor, I would not let go of them until they said go away. Or else we're going to, file harassment or whatever you do whenever a company won't leave you alone. I would like New Japan and Ring of Honor to stay together. But, because New Japan is the closest thing to competition WWE has right now. And they're not even in the same country. So that says a lot.
It does a lot. This whole thing is going to be interesting to see how it all falls together and just to see which situation is going to fit best for New Japan. But I'm very excited. I love the fact that we're going to have Liger in a WWE ring, and my God, I hope to see more Japanese wrestlers at that talent level from New Japan in a WWE ring soon. Let's switch gears just for a second here because this is an issue, but there's another issue going on, and I have to talk about it. TNA has a big issue currently because of a certain wrestler, and that name is Hernandez. He came over and he decided he was going to work with TNA because, Lucha Underground is in this situation of they're in limbo. They don't know if they're going to have a second season or not, and he wants some more work. So, of course, he's going to go to TNA and say, hey, I'm available. They get him on board. They let him do some tapings. And the next thing you know, Lucha Underground finds out, and they basically tell TNA, hey, you can't do that. He's under contract with us. Well, guess what? TNA's already had an episode with Hernandez on. Ooh, that's bad. Plus, now all the main events with the BDC are going to be taking place in, these next, 3 weeks, I believe. So now all those main events are going to have cut from TNA television because Lucha Underground says, no, I don't care if you want to offer us money, TNA, we're not doing it. This is just terrible. So now TNA no longer for the next 3 weeks, I believe, have a main event. They've got to find filler, which this episode of TNA we're going to talk about later on in the show. It's obvious. I want to know what you guys think about this because is this just another example of TNA dropping the ball badly? What was going through their heads? I just got to ask you, Jacob, what would you think?
How long do you have?
This thing can go for 5 hours.
Honestly, I could go on for hours, yes, but I'll just put it to you this way. Just to give you a background of where I'm coming from as a wrestling fan, I kind of stopped watching wrestling when I was probably around 13 years old, and I got back into it probably when I turned 18 or 19. And somewhere in between there, some company called Total Nonstop Action got started. And I ignored it because I just wasn't watching wrestling. But I started watching wrestling again, and I still did not watch TNA. And then I met people like Chris, like Paul, and they said, TNA's got some stuff that you might actually enjoy watching. And I said, okay, I'll keep that in mind. I dragged my feet. I took a little bit too long because by the time I started watching TNA, I would rather sleep. I would rather do homework. I would rather work. I would rather watch paint dry than watch TNA. Not just, and it has nothing to do with, the quality of the wrestlers there. It is entirely just the creative and, I guess, administrative decisions that the company has made since, gosh, I don't know. Chris, what would you say? Since, 2010, 2011? It's just kind of been one mistake after another. And, I think Chris can back me up on this. I said probably 5 years ago, TNA is a sinking ship. You know, it was over in 2011. I was so sure of it. And they have continued to survive despite themselves. So I hear this Hernandez news, and I think to myself, that's ridiculous. How could they let something so stupid happen when they're already knee-deep in like 17 other problems? I mean, they can't even pay their own talent. They're having a hard time finding a network to host them. I mean, surely they wouldn't be this dumb. Well, they are actually that dumb.
Yeah.
So I guess what I would say is, am I surprised by this news? No. But because I've been wrong every single year up to this point that, you know, this is going to be the thing that sinks TNA, at this point, TNA to me is just a cockroach that you just can't get rid of. Like, you've tried everything that you can, and I honestly think when it comes right down to it, everyone's just going to quit before Dixie Carter says, all right, guys, we're done. So, you know, I've kind of gone off a little bit, but I just want to stress the Hernandez news is completely ridiculous for a professional company to sit there and just make that amateur of a mistake. But on the other hand, it's TNA, and it's kind of become, it's what I expect from them. So I looked at the headline, my eyebrows went up, and then I just read other news. That's pretty much how I reacted to it.
I love your thought process on TNA being the cockroach, because it's true, and they just came out with some other news. Apparently, you know, they're thinking of, you know, oh, we got all these TV deals overseas. We're all going to be okay. Hey, that we can be off Destination America and we can still survive. Don't worry. I think it's hilarious. I do.
I just don't understand how a company that is, you know, supposed to be the number 2 company in the United States, like, how do you just go off of MVP's word and Hernandez's word and not fact check and go, does this guy? I mean, TNA is really that desperate. I guess it doesn't matter. But how do you not make sure he's not tied to Lucha Underground still? I mean, just you have to have some kind of legal department that says, "Hey, wait a minute, something's not lining up here."
I think they do. It's just they haven't gotten paid. So
yeah. Check the mail, right?
Hey, but good on Lucha Underground, right? Like, they didn't have to say anything, and TNA apparently offered them money, and Lucha Underground was like, you have money? Like, what are you
I'm curious how much money they offered them. Like, a penny? Like,
if you have money to make sure Hernandez comes from Lucha Underground, why didn't you re-sign some of these other guys? Like, is he that great? I don't think so.
Whoa, guys. Hernandez, come on. It's Hernandez. And this is the same company that said, oh God, what was it? Was it Garrett Bischoff? They said, this is a guy we need. We need Garrett Bischoff is what we need.
Oh, man.
Like, seriously, just let that kind of hang there. Garrett Bischoff, he is TNA's own.
Oh, so sad.
I think that sums up TNA in more ways than we can imagine.
There's a lot. Oh my God! Yeah, this is ridiculous. I mean, just the thought process of the not even fact checking the contract for Hernandez, and then of course this TV deal that they're going to let just go by the wayside. Oh, and they're going to all the foreign deals that they have are going to support them, and they're going to be just fine. I mean, how ridiculous is this, Chris? It's just sad.
Yeah, when I saw Dixie saying that, like, I was thinking in my head, you guys cannot survive without a TV deal in the U.S. It's just plain and simple. You are delusional if you think otherwise. But again, she's delusional Dixie, so I'm not too surprised. And yeah, with Hernandez, I mean, Hernandez is a bit of an asshole, but yeah, they should have. I see both sides of the coin. It's one hand, it's LOL TNA, but also Hernandez is an idiot for not, at least not letting them know as well. But yeah, next time with TNA, they should just.
Man, he's hustling. I don't blame that dude. Like. You know, he's just like, let me get my money, let me do what I can. He probably figured nobody would find out because, you know, Lucha Underground wasn't doing anything anyway. Now apparently they're just waiting for some kind of TV deal in Mexico to go down so they can announce everything. And, you know, hey, again, more power to Lucha Underground for sticking their hand out there and going, hello, we have a contract here. Doesn't matter what Hernandez says, you know, just. And probably because they knew they could scare the crap out of TNA. and we get to watch what happened to their show today. Just, whew. Because we really wanted to watch that James Storm and Magnus unsanctioned match again. That was
boy.
Just, I'm glad
that doesn't put butts in the seats? That's not a ratings grabber right there? Storm and Hernandez, or Storm and Magnus? I mean, Magnus?
I'm sure Paul was just like, Skip.
Shoot me now.
Well, hey, okay. Let's be fair. It's not particularly exciting or good or creative, but is it as played out as Randy Orton's Sheamus? Just think about it.
Well,
I would say James Storm is as played out as both guys combined, but
fair. Okay, that's fair.
And that's just because Gunner's not on the roster anymore, right?
Thank God.
A real blow to TNA there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Let's have a moment of silence for Gunner's TNA career, please.
There you go.
I can't bring myself to be silent.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. This is just, like I said, it's just sad. We'll talk about TNA later on in the show. We'll kind of go through some of these other topics, so don't worry, we are going to cover it. But looking at this whole situation, I mean, we even saw the ratings this week. They were not high for ROH or TNA.
Oh, and that's another thing I was going to mention. Ever since the New Japan guys left, ROH has been hitting the tubes of downward trending terribly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not a very good sign, is it?
Well, that's what happens also when Destination America does absolutely nothing to promote you at all. In fact, they have one of those. It's basically like an invisible ink sort of thing that tells you TNA is going to come on in an hour constantly the whole time during ROH. But there's nothing about ROH during TNA or at any other time during the channel. So, how are you going to get people to watch ROH at all if they don't know it's on the channel?
You understand, Sean, they have to have the Pitmasters commercials. They have to. Those are over.
There were a zillion TNA commercials, though, so I don't want to hear TNA complaining they don't get advertising.
Yeah, that's true. We were sitting here talking about the product of TNA and ROH and all that, but, I mean, this is interesting to me. What would you guys watch over the other? If you had the choice, you have to watch one of these shows, either TNA or you have to watch Tough Enough. Which one would you choose?
Oh, gosh.
Should I take a gun to the head?
Yeah, please.
Tough Enough's only an hour.
That's true.
TNA has EC3 sold.
If I'm EC3 right now, I'm sitting there going, my God, I'm really like the only guy here, right? It's just, I'm falling down with this ship.
Yeah.
He's a Carter, man.
I don't know. I don't want the words "I would choose TNA" to come out of my mouth.
That's how I feel too.
I don't want to say it, even though I'm definitely thinking it.
Yeah,
well, we could just say we choose EC3. That's the happy medium.
Yeah. All right.
That's fair.
Oh, that is fair.
To be fair, the All-Star Game was on, though, so that had a little bit to do with it. But I thought this was the best episode of Tough Enough they had the entire season because they had to do with wrestling on both challenges. So I was sort of interested.
Sean, when Barrett came out, the first thing I was seeing in my head, like, what is Barrett going to tell these guys? Hey, don't get injured or they'll forget about you and then make you king of the ring and then completely job you out.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was going to tell them, don't wrestle John Cena. Just, there you go.
Yeah. If you want to have a long career, stay away from those things, yeah. Oh, man. Like I said, it's just interesting because both those shows, Tough Enough is already sketchy enough for me. I watch it because I know eventually I'm going to have to know some of the information, but I don't want to, honestly, most of the time. Something else we kind of need to jump into, and this is kind of interesting. Vince McMahon, we all know that he is trying his best to build up the network as much as possible. Hey, we're happy with that if he can build it up more and more, because it's going to earn that $9.99 we spend every month. But apparently he fired one of their top executives because he was very unhappy with the fact that they lost the NWA library. They were going to try and purchase it, and apparently they didn't. The executive I'm speaking of did not make the deal happen, did not complete it. So now there is a NWA 24/7 network that you can go actually subscribe to, and I think it's only $8.99 a month. Long story short, Vince is very pissed off. I mean, I think that, you know, it would be great to have NWA, but what do you guys think? I mean, do you think that you would have preferred to have it all on the same network? I mean, I would, but do you think NWA is going to be okay by itself?
I kind of wish it was all on the same network, but this is coming from the same company that once said that they weren't uploading any of the old stuff because apparently nobody's watching them. So it's like they could have had the library, but would they have ever released it? That's what my kind of concern about that was.
Mm-hmm. That's a true statement right there.
That's the thing. I wonder if that has to do with it. I'd love to know really what the reason was on the Paul Boss's people end. Which this is the thing. It's not all of the NWA. It's part of the NWA from Houston, which has a ton of different stuff in it, which is really cool. And he sold it over to Bruce Tharpe instead of selling it to WWE because where are they going to show it? They have all this stuff digitized. They don't put it on the network because nobody watches it. Who cares? If all you're doing is pressing a button, put it on there. You never know if somebody might watch it if you actually put it on there. And tell people that it's there. You know, that might actually be another reason. You know, you don't tell anybody that it's there. It just exists in its own vacuum. And if you don't care about it, then when are you ever going to know it's there? That's what bothers me. You know, they went really hard with the Saturday Night's Main Event stuff, and then everything else was kind of like, okay, well, they'll find it, and yeah, you know.
Yeah, I believe the time period we're talking about, Sean, is in the 60s to 80s, correct?
Yeah, to like 86, something like that.
Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, lots of good material there, and a lot of classic matches. Of course, you get Shawn Michaels at an early age. You got a lot of Flair, of course. A lot of great wrestling. It's just kind of sad that it's not going to be part of the network. You have to go pay another $8.99 to watch it. I just think it's kind of a bummer. But in general, I mean, I could definitely see where Vince is angry. You know, once again, I mean, they're trying to build the network as much as possible, trying to, I guess, once again, they're already kind of a monopoly, trying to become an even bigger monopoly right now. So, I don't know if you guys have any other comments about that, but, you know, I just think it's very, very interesting. One last thing I think we're going to just briefly talk about, because this is not very important, before we head on and talk about some Monday Night Raw. Great Khali has his wrestling academy, and I don't know about you guys, but, I mean, where's the paperwork where I can sign up, right? I mean, this guy, I mean, come on. Jacob, wouldn't you want to sign up under Khali's school?
I would absolutely love to sign up for it, especially if he would put me through the ropes like Stu Hart put all of his people through. Like, if Khali would guarantee that he would put me in like 30 different submission maneuvers, yeah, I'd sign up in a heartbeat, because it would be worth it just to see Khali try it.
I just want to see how to wrestle without bending your knees.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Let me tell you. All right, now let's work on your chops. All right, now let's do some more chops. And how about a chop? Now put a lazy leg up in the air, kind of halfway. Okay, good. Now start kissing people. All right, you're ready to go.
And don't forget that chop to the head too.
Yeah,
more chops, please, more.
And a nerve hold. Man, he always did that too.
Oh yeah, of course.
We can do some Punjabi prison stuff.
Oh man.
Okay, it actually would be worth the price of admission to just have to train in the stupid Punjabi prison set every single day. How do I even get in here?
That's what it felt like the entire time.
I love it. I'm just imagining, you know, him sitting there and he's having a conversation with the students and goes, "Okay, we're talking about doing top, so we'll watch the Big Show video. This is how you do chops."
Hey, you know, sometimes some of the best people that come from trainers that you never knew were actually good. So,
Yeah.
We should be a little fair to the guy.
We're just joking around, but Kali's a sweet guy. I hope all the success for his academy. I think it'd be great. We do have somebody on the line calling in. Who is this?
Good evening. This is 411's Jeffrey Harris. How's everyone doing this evening?
Hey, Jeff. What's going on, man?
I am better than Custer. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Pretty
right.
good. Hey, man.
All right.
What you calling to talk about, man?
All right, TNA. Do you guys know what the hell is going on with TNA and what the hell is happening with them? Are they going to die after September? Or are they going to somehow kick around?
I doubt TNA even knows what's going on with them. Dixie's over there smiling like everything's gonna be fine. And there's flames burning behind her, and she's like, "Well, see, everything's better."
Hey, you know what?
I feel like it's been this way with TNA for like 5 years almost, and I'll give TNA this. How they've survived this long defies pretty much all expectations for me. And I think they've existed for basically as long as WCW was as a Turner brand, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's that. I mean, maybe there's not as much value, but how they're still alive, I really don't know. And that's kind of why I want them to die, but I mean, it's like I need to see the core. I need proof of death. You know what I mean? Or else this is going to be like
that certificate that says.
Well, TNA's basically a zombie movie at this point. Like you've got to take out the head.
Or else it's going to be. I don't know. Maybe it's like Infinity Gauntlet with Thanos killing off like half the Marvel universe, and then Adam Warlock just snaps his fingers and brings everyone back at the end. I just don't get it. To me, it defies all logic. It defies all reality how TNA continues to exist. And look, I don't want people to lose their jobs, but I mean, look at what's happening here. People are leaving left and right. People are asking for their release from TNA. You know, a lot of the mainstay stars. I mean, guys, the writing is on the wall here, and I feel like when a company is this bad, it's got to go away, man. It just can't continue to exist in this form. But I mean, I asked people at Destination America at Comic-Con. They said TNA's not leaving in September, so I don't know what to make of that. Did the Observer get this wrong?
They're not going to tell you they are, because then they know it's going to get all over the internet that people at Destination America at Comic-Con said blah 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 blah. They're not going to.
Well, I have a fun little comparison to make here between TNA and the final couple years for WCW. WCW went under because Ted Turner is a smart businessman who knows, all right, it's time to sell this thing. There's no profit to be made anymore. He had that sort of sense. Dixie Carter is not Ted Turner. And so I think financially they're absolutely right. They can financially afford to just live off of foreign contracts and stuff. But the difference between TNA and WCW is that WCW sold itself and shut it down when the time was right. And Dixie Carter is kind of like Captain Ahab with Moby Dick. Like, she's not going to give up until she catches the white whale, man. And
but it really exists in a form where basically all their top guys are maybe going to be, other than maybe Angle and a couple others, are basically going to be part-timers or freelancers who are no longer under like an actual contract.
It's really what I think. What you're kind of getting at there, though, is what's going to kill TNA is the talent. And when the talent stops signing, when the talent finally goes away, I mean, eventually they're just going to have to face facts. But on the other hand, TNA's proven that they're willing to give opportunities and shots to people who I don't want to say don't deserve it. But, I mean, we just got done having a moratorium on Gunner's career, okay? He was a thing that happened in TNA, you know? And I'm not trying to say that he's the worst guy ever, but it's like TNA offered him an opportunity, and whether or not he deserved it is really up for debate, a short debate, but a debate nonetheless. And I just think...
They also offered Pope D'Angelo Dinero an opportunity, so there was that, too. And
he's still over there ruining commentary every week with Josh
and Ken Anderson, so there's that. I don't know, man. I mean, I want to just see that. I want to live that moment where they finally go away. But it feels like I don't know. It's almost like this. They're like a fungus, man. It's like hey, they're like a virus you can't cure almost. So I don't understand it. But there it is. And quite frankly, I'd be all for NXT basically replacing TNA because they're pretty much already there right now if you think about it.
Yeah.
As a true alternative to the WWE product.
Sort of,
You're
yeah.
And it's getting better day by day also. With this
well, thank you guys. That's all I had. Looking forward to the rest of the show.
All right, thanks, Jeff, man. Talk to you soon.
And what's funny, too, is Dixie's making Bound for Glory plans. So, Wrestle 1 is apparently also dying. So they were like a year too late. They can go ahead and have another Bound for Glory show in Japan, and they can just both die at the same time.
Fall on the sword together, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Well, we will see. Whatever live support that TNA is going to put themselves on, we'll have to see how long it does last. Well, let's go ahead and move on out of quick hits, guys. We've had a lot of fun discussions, but we do have a lot more shows to talk about. So we are going to jump into some Monday Night Raw coming up next. Plus, don't forget, we're also going to talk some NXT. We'll be covering TNA, and as well as we do that Battleground preview right after Monday Night Raw, you're going to want to hear our predictions. But we'll be right back for Raw.
WWE Monday Night Raw.
Alright, Monday Night Raw was live from Atlanta, Georgia, as they go home to the Battleground pay-per-view happening in, 2 days now? So, our main topic this week is discussing, obviously, what is going to happen now that the talk of the town, which was Raw, of the NXT Divas finally appearing, and maybe not appearing in the way that we figured they would. We're going out of order here. Normally I start with the opening segment and kind of just go through the main storyline or whatever, but this really was like one of the main storylines of the show. So we can, let me break down what happened. We can talk about how we thought the segment went, talk about what we think about this supposed revolution, and how this, we can then go into how it affects NXT and everything. But so Stephanie McMahon comes out because I'm assuming the feeling probably is that, and we have to remember too, Stephanie also came out to present the women's title before the NXT tournament started. Stephanie, Triple H was there at the end to raise Charlotte's hand, or Paige's hand. They have been involved, both of them, with the NXT women down there a bunch. It's not just Stephanie's never been around. She's been around quite a few times with them. So it's not like we've never seen Stephanie do anything with the NXT women, but that's also because she has other things to do. But either way, Stephanie comes out to basically kind of get in Nikki's face and tell her, hey, look, you're asking for more competition. You're saying you beat everybody. Well, I have people that are here to make a difference because of all this stuff that's going on with the women's national team and tennis with Serena Williams and all this whatever. And so she's the one that introduces Becky Lynch first. Becky Lynch comes out without the goggles, without the steampunk stuff, just gray outfit with her auburn hair. We have Charlotte come out. She gets a huge reaction, woos before she even comes out. And then Naomi comes out and has a problem with saying that, hey, I haven't gotten my shot yet. Where's our shot? I thought it was weird that Stephanie didn't even bring up the whole, why didn't you join Paige or Team Bella? Why is the WWE not being cohesive with each other? That part was kind of left out, and basically it was there to be able to bring in Sasha, who apparently is supposed to be like-minded like Naomi and Tamina, and now they are called Team Bad instead of Team Bay, best at dominating. So, Chris or Jacob, how do you feel like this segment went down? Is it more about we're happy that they're here now and let's see what that goes forward, or is there a lot to nitpick here about how this segment went?
Well, it's Raw, so I mean, there's always plenty to nitpick. But I will bite my tongue and I will just say I'm happy with the move. I thought that was probably one of the more exciting moments for the Divas, and probably since AJ left, honestly. But I don't know. I really like the segment, but sorry, there are parts of me that want to nitpick. Stephanie coming out bothers.
That's what you're.
Stephanie coming out bothers me a lot. I mean, I get why she does, but at the same time, it's like, okay, how many different characters and personas do you have? And then her argument over, hey, you wanted competition, it kind of falls a little bit flat when Nikki has won by just blatant cheating for the past, I don't know how many matches, or I guess title defenses. It doesn't really add up correctly. But you know what? I want to hold back on this a little bit. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't quite fit, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm happy that we've got 3 new women to go in there and actually wrestle. It's nice. It's a nice problem to have.
Jacob, I'm happy too, but Stephanie is probably my biggest problem with this segment. Like you said, Sean, yeah, Stephanie was involved with the NXT title back when she debuted it. Well, yeah, Triple H debuted it. Her and Triple H debuted it. But again, they were faces then, and they're supposed to be heels now. So I didn't get. That was my biggest disconnect with this whole segment. Isn't Stephanie supposed to be the biggest heel in the company? Why is she going up against the people? Because she was kind of still aligned with the W2M for a little bit as well. So it's why does Stephanie get the credit of introducing these people, or these 3 new women up when she's the heel? But let's just turn her babyface for this segment only.
My biggest question, Chris, is I thought just 2 weeks ago the Bellas were talking to the roster or their division and saying, "Oh, well, you don't want to turn on us because if you do, Stephanie backs us."
Exactly.
Yeah. So now you're looking at a totally flip-flop situation. Paul's favorite thing, a gray area. Once again, here you go. Your biggest heel in the company has a gray area now.
Woo! I will say this. There were a lot of better ways, I think, to go about doing this segment. In the moment, I thought this was very cool. I'm very excited. All these girls are amazing wrestlers. And hopefully, bringing in this new influx of talent will give whoever is working on the Divas division some motivation to do right by these girls based on what they've done in NXT. But at the same time, I'm not going to hold my breath until I see it for multiple weeks in a row that they're actually trying with these girls. Stephanie, I agree, should not have been out here. This should have been done by the girls leading the charges here, by Paige, by Nikki, by Naomi, and you have the girls come out
what would be
that
great?
way.
Natalia's been off TV for a while. This would be a great way to bring her back. It's hey, Paige, I have some backup, and then just bring out these people. That would have made even more sense than Stephanie doing it.
I agree, but apparently Natalia just doesn't exist unless she's strutting around in a black suit with Tyson, so whatever.
Well, I mean, she's also probably want to be with her husband right now. We don't know what that all entails. Remember, Stephanie was gone for a long time while Triple H was convalescing too, so...
That's fair, but even before that, she just strutted around. She didn't really do any wrestling, even though she's probably one of the best in that division right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole thing is interesting. I think it's great. My thing about this is just the fact that we have that whole, I guess that the continuity thing, because of course Stephanie's supposed to be on one side, now she's in the middle. Didn't like that. I think what we all talked about before was Paige introducing them makes the most sense. This didn't make as much sense. But you know what? Everybody's excited to see these 3 on the main roster. Let's just pray to God that they actually pull up what they did in NXT and not drag themselves down with what's going on in the current roster.
I'm going to save this conversation so in 5 months from now when Becky Lynch is wrestling a 2-minute match and losing to Summer Rae, we can just look back at this conversation with what could have been.
Oh, you mean the Dean Ambrose approach to things? Don't worry, guys. Things will get better. Oh.
And everybody, that is Brandon. Hey, man, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, guys, and yeah, let's hope that does not happen. I have a feeling it will, but let's hope that this isn't another situation of it looks like things are starting to look up, and then a couple of weeks later we're like, oh nope, never mind, we're back right into the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, my approach to it was, kind of like Paul. It was just cool in the moment to see them. I didn't necessarily like the fact that we have now 3 teams. I wasn't too big a fan of that. I get that they need Bayley to kind of be the figurehead of the women's division over there in NXT, but I would much rather just had Naomi and Tamina join up with the Bellas too, and you debut Bayley, and you have all 4 of them together. I know, and then you can have Sasha break them up later, because she's the heel or whatever. Just, I don't know. That's the only thing that bothered me. I would have much rather them be together instead of this almost, WWE has to go by racial lines still. And, we can't break that code. So,
Michael PSAs for you.
In hindsight, I know it was just... yeah, the new day. I know it was just a joke at the time, but it's kind of funny how, looking in hindsight, was it Bragging Rights or was it Survivor Series where it was like Kofi, Mark Henry, I forget who else, and then Christian was like the one white
Survivor
guy.
Series 09, yeah.
Yeah, like it was just kind of done for laughs, but it's like, honestly, when it comes down to the racial lines, that's probably the most progressive thing they've done in like the past 6 years. Just like, it's good. It's good for a joke, and then all right, we have New Day. There you go. Let's just do that. I will say this because I was trying to hold back some criticism of the thing. I'm still kind of worked up with the excitement of having some new faces in the Divas division, but I think what it comes back to, and the elephant in the room for me, is that little report that was going around saying that when writing for the Divas division, that somebody who's a face one day can be a heel the next, or something like that. Like that, there's no continuity really when they write for the Divas. So it's like, with that in my brain, I look at how dumb it is for Stephanie to come out and all of a sudden be like, no, Nikki, you're wrong. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense for the WWE and how they approach writing women. It's like, it shouldn't be acceptable, and it kind of isn't, but at the same time, I'm just going to look at the positives here, and the positives are that we've got 3 new faces, all of which can probably wrestle better than most of the division as it stands. And they might get Ambrosed out and they're just going to be jobbing to everybody for the next year, but I can dream, and I'm still at the point right now where I can dream, and so that's what I'm going to do. Darn it.
Dream away, you dreamer.
Yeah. It's totally okay to dream, especially when we all want this to succeed, because we want to see change. We want to see them be able to have these great matches that we know they can. And, let's hope that this really does lead to maybe Vince just goes away when when it's time for the Divas segment, and they allow Triple H and Stephanie to run that thing and run it how it's supposed to be, because, they now have to condition their audience to care about the Divas again. And you can start that with having longer matches and showcasing these new Divas, but then you also have to start booking storylines and things. Or it's the same thing. The reason... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think one of the problems with that, though, is that, and it's even worse off now with Total Divas, is that a lot of the quote-unquote storylines that they're trying to do with the Divas revolves around that sort of reality TV type of drama, the girl drama that you get, and wrestling fans don't want to see that. Wrestling fans don't care about that sort of thing. So they're going to automatically tune out when the storyline is that. So... Right. They have to figure out a way to be able to make more, like, make more rational storylines that people can actually care about.
Well, I will say
that's on them.
One of the things I've enjoyed, and I don't remember if a lot of fanfare was done about it, but one of the nice changes I've seen in the women's division in the WWE is that they're actually talking about the matches now, the commentary. You can go back about a year or so, and for a lot of those just like tag matches where there really wasn't anything on the line, oftentimes commentary would be talking about anything else. They wouldn't go, Attitude Era Kings flipping out about puppies, but they'd just talk about anything under the sun. Like they'd be talking about Brock Lesnar for like the entirety of a Divas match, and I guess word got back to them that, hey, stop doing that. And since then, they've actually paid attention to the matches and they've done actual commentary, and it's a really minor thing, but I think it's just that one little thing there that can kind of start to turn people around, at least for a TV viewing audience. The people at the actual arena, you're going to have a harder time convincing them that it's a serious deal when these women wrestle. But I think for the TV audiences, having commentary actually treat it with some respect is a long-term good idea for the division.
Well, I feel like the Divas matches back then were basically equivalent to like the lower mid-card matches in WCW back in like 96, 97 during the NWO time, where they would have like NWO snippets between matches, and the matches didn't really mean anything. They were talking about other things, more important things during the match, and like they were just filler basically. And that's, from back then, even until now, it feels like the Divas division is just filler, kind of.
So what you're saying is the Divas need a Disco Inferno to turn things around?
Yes.
All right, I agree with this.
They had that.
I agree with this.
Emma was their Disco Inferno, and they ruined that too.
Well, there you go. Get me another. I need another Disco Inferno right now.
Well, I guess Dana Brooke can be the next.
Oh, Jesus.
You know what? I'll give Dana Brooke credit. Paul and I have agreed on this every time we see her. She knows her character. She gets her character. She's got a long way to go on the wrestling. But if you got your character down, that can take you a longer way than as you pick up the wrestling. So. And apparently even Marie didn't look too bad according to the tapings, so we shall see when we see that match next week. But now I guess we got to talk about how this affects. Apparently Bayley's going to be the person they build the division around now. The NXT Divas don't leave until after TakeOver. The ones that came up, but it's really cool if they're going to have Bayley run through them to show that, she is the prominent diva in NXT, and then you kind of build it around all the heels that are there as they build up the rest of them, I guess, and even Marie, and the new crop that they brought in. Do you think it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust and everything, but you think it's going to be okay with what's left?
I think Bayley staying in NXT is actually perfect for her. I think I talked to you about this, Sean. With Bayley's character, I just can't see working on the main roster right now. So that now with all these call-ups, you actually get a chance to explore Bayley's character a lot more. Give more reasons to figure out who she is. And plus, she'll be the number one babyface down there. So it works better that Bayley can spend a little bit more time in NXT and just kind of building the division around her to show that she can run a division by herself.
What do you think, Paul?
I think Bayley alone is good enough to carry. I think there's enough potential in the rest of your divas in NXT to build them up to be able to carry the division when they're gone. But it's going to take time because Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Dana Brooke. My brain skipped out on me for a second. They're all fine in their own respective ways. They just need more time. So I don't know if the call-up means that the girls are done with NXT. Maybe Charlotte is, but Becky Lynch, I think, could still do stuff there. I think Sasha Banks is nearing her time in the end there, but I think you could still get something out of Becky Lynch in NXT if you want to have her go between both shows.
That, and they've added some other talent on that NXT roster have really shown that they can do it. The other Australian doing pretty well.
Casey Cassidy.
Yes, Cassidy. That's right. And of course, I think Blue Pants is still there. So
Jesse McKay also.
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing that this may be doing is taking some space out, taking some spots to be able to fill up with some new people that they might be bringing in from Tough Enough and other places. They may be trying to bring in new people to the NXT women's division.
Don't forget, they still got that Diva search they're going to do at some point.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we can get our new Kelly.
Oh God,
Chris, get ready for the point.
God save me.
Yelly.
It's like, Kelly, what's your character? I come out, I smile, and I point at stuff. Okay, all right. I think we have a place for you in this company.
Hey, she now has her own reality TV show on E, so there you go.
Well, that's E. They'll take anybody. Yeah. I could get a show on the E.
I mean,
I would watch a Jacob show on E.
I would too. I mean, that should tell you a lot about the kind of guy I am, but but I don't know. I think Bayley, I think there's a lot to Bayley that I still haven't seen, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. If she is going to be pretty much top dog on NXT, I'm kind of looking forward to it because her character is both, it's goofy, but then also it's as weird as it sounds, it's different enough for me to be really interested in just seeing how she approaches, generic bad guy heel number 6, when it comes to wrestling. I'm interested to see, Bayley come out and just wreck stuff with the power of positivity, How about that?
But join the New Day?
No, but I mean, I wouldn't be against it, but no, it's not going to happen. I guess what I'm saying is, Bayley, to me, she may not have everything she needs right now to kind of be the best, but I feel like I think she's going to flourish in NXT. If these three, if the three are coming up to Raw and they're coming to the main roster, I think she's going to flourish because I think she's got enough skills that she can handle it. She might have to tweak her character a little bit, but I'm interested in seeing what kind of direction she takes it because I think the last person that had me interested with just what direction are they taking this character in, and this is a bad example, was probably Emma. Because I remember they brought her up, and I said, okay, what are they doing with her? Oh, yeah, okay, well, send her back down, because I don't know if she's just not ready yet or what have you, but I think if Bayley's on NXT, she gets, fingers crossed, a better storyline, better writers overall, no stupid dancing gimmicks or whatever, well, within reason. And I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic about her pretty much being on her own in NXT because I think once it's a little bit, I don't know, without those three in the way, I think she's going to have a lot more time to just kind of throw her weight around. And I think she's got the potential to do so. But I don't know. I'm kind of rambling here. I'm a big fan of Bayley, and I'm looking forward to it. There, I'm done.
Yeah, she's got that built-in feud with Emma already, and Emma's improving as the heel Emma now, and the rest of them are gonna bring it along. And I'm pretty sure even Marie's just gonna be there for a cup of coffee until they think she's good enough, and then bring her up. So, thankfully, because she doesn't need to be the next revolution of the Divas either.
What are you talking?
Oh, you'll say that, but then she'll be the one that ends Nikki Gallow's title run. Just wait.
Oh, you know that they're probably grooming her for that. That's what this whole thing on Total Divas is going to be the entire year. This feud of Eva Marie versus everybody being mad at her because she's got training with Brian Kendrick. She's apparently using the sliced bread as her finisher too, by the way. And she, so wait till that happens, 10 days before that is supposed to end. It's not going to be Charlotte or Sasha or anybody. Eva Marie is going to show up and end it.
I don't know. It's going to happen at Mania 32. I have that feeling. Mania, Nikki will have a 300-plus day reign, and Eva Marie will step up and beat the evil Nikki Bella. she'll be our savior.
Okay, it's a horrible idea, but I think that's kind of why I'm excited about it.
Who doesn't love train wreck?
It's okay. I mean, I'll be getting drunk at Cowboy Stadium, so when that happens, I'll be like, yeah, and then I'll just walk away.
In terms
I
of
don't know about that. Those drinks are expensive at Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah, Chris, really, it's
I'll
more
pay
like,
him just so I can enjoy that match.
like you'll be coming down from the tailgating party, and then that's when it'll happen. But I mean, if you think about it, that happening at Mania wouldn't even really crack the surface of really stupid booking decisions made at WrestleMania. I mean, does it even come close to a moment that's near and dear to my heart? Zack Ryder's big Mania moment? I mean...
Or worse yet, having a 3-second match between Sheamus and Ziggler.
Or Sheamus and Daniel Bryan for 18 seconds. We were there.
Yeah.
That was...
I mean... I'm not trying to say Eva Marie would not be terrible to come in there and take the belt off Nikki, but I would laugh because it's the WWE thing to do. It's like what would be a really stupid thing to do? All right, let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. So we got through that. So let's get through the rest of this Raw. So the main storyline is basically Brock Lesnar and more Seth Rollins and Kane and all that junk. Paul Heyman does his usual pimping up Brock Lesnar until Seth Rollins comes in and then flubs a line. And he's like, oh, whatever, just, and keeps going on and is mad about the car getting blown up or whatever. We get Justin Bieber chants because that's the thing. And he talks about, all this stuff about Suplex City. We get a baby brother chant for Kane because he mentions the Undertaker's streak being broken in front of Kane and Kane getting upset about it. That was probably about the 5th or 6th time Undertaker has been mentioned in about 3 weeks, which leads to something we'll talk about during the Battleground segment that is apparently blown up today, among other million things that have blown up today. Yeah, whenever Seth violates the 11th commandment, he's going to see Suplex City, apparently. And later on, we also find out there's going to be a freaking contract signing. I mean, is there another way to do this besides do a contract signing? I mean, like...
Oh, yeah, there is. It's called Don't Open the Show with This Segment.
I mean, now we're talking about impossibilities, though, Jacob.
Yeah. Well, no, I know, but it's just like we have to have some really stupid way to have the exact same thing that we open the show with. It's like, man, all right, well, what are our options? I mean, we could just like not open the show with it. It's like, no, that's stupid. That's
fired.
Ridiculous. So let's have a contract.
Fired. You have to understand, Jacob. It's about talking for 30 minutes at the beginning, talking for 30 minutes at the end. It's what makes Raw go round.
It's wrestling. That's wrestling, bro.
No, that's they usually do have a match at the end. I mean,
sometimes, but when they get closer to the pay-per-view, it's always talk.
Yeah, but
it's always the contract signing the week before.
Like Chris and I were talking about, this is just Vince's like, you're gonna like it, damn it, and if not, I'm gonna give you more Big Show. I'm gonna give you more Sheamus, and especially right after the damn talking segment too, you're gonna get more Big Show, Sheamus, and Randy Orton, by the way.
Well, then why don't we just combine all of these things? Sign the contract while there's a match going on around you.
Between Orton, Sheamus, and Big Show.
Look, WWE, you know where to find me. Just call me. I've got some ideas.
He's the one threatening you, WWE.
Yeah, they can just show them backstage doing the contract, signing it while the match is going on, because no one cares about that match anyway. Just whatever. I mean, I know, Paul is a big Sheamus fan and everything, but my God, I can't see this configuration of these four that many times before I'm just like, this is doing nothing for me here. Ryback at least wins with his splash from the top rope, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. Did you guys think this match was just anything?
No.
Oh, I checked that out during this match. With all these four people in it, like, Jesus. And I walked away.
I would have to say I'm probably a little too hard on Ryback at times. I'm not digging it. I didn't dig his whole. I haven't really dug Ryback for probably 2 or 3 years now. Where I don't know. I can't really click with him. And so, okay, we have Ryback, a guy that I'm just not interested in anymore. Randy Orton, guy I'm just isn't the same anymore. We have the Big Show, ditto, and Sheamus, the guy who got the Money in the Bank briefcase just cause. Like, there's a lot of.
Because he's going to be in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 next year.
Well, yeah. But I mean, I look at all 4 of them, and I'm pretty much the exact same way with Chris. I just look at who's in it, and I'm just like, it's a pretty weird day when I'm really excited about Divas, and I'm like, oh, a bunch of big dudes wrestling each other? I think I'm going to go to the restroom.
I would say this: Sheamus taking the pin worries me in the fact that they're going back to the old lose on TV, win big on pay-per-view. That Sheamus takes the pin here and he cashes in on Sunday and wins the belt. That would just be the absolute worst thing ever.
Well, he has been winning against Roman Reigns, distracted Roman Reigns a bunch. So,
I mean, they're basically doing with Money in the Bank because they had no idea and they just randomly gave it to Sheamus. They're basically doing to Sheamus what they've been doing to Barrett with King of the Ring, where, it doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, Sheamus will cash in eventually because he'll have to and maybe win the title, but, the Money in the Bank doesn't mean nearly as much this year as it did last year, where you knew, okay, Seth Rollins, the Authority is proclaiming him the future, and now you can't really say he is, and all of that.
Yeah. So, moving things along here from that mess. I mean, look, I've actually been okay with Ryback. I appreciate that he's added that splash to his arsenal and everything, and he's doing things, but it's probably the only thing I'm excited about. I mean, and if anything, this almost seems set for Miz to, if the match was happening, which now it's not because Ryback has a bad staph infection and will not be at Battleground. It looked like it was set up for Miz to be the one that it was going to take the title, because he kept just coming in and interrupting and causing everybody to get distracted, and that's what he's been doing for weeks. So, at least he's been playing his role, just being out there and being annoying. But hey, Roman Reigns finally got smart and figured out that, hey, if I get behind Bray Wyatt during his entrance, he won't know I'm there, and I can attack him. Even though this made Dean Ambrose look like a total idiot as he stands there, just watching Roman Reigns beat up Wyatt, and then watches his friend get hit with the lantern and he does nothing. And it just fades to black, like, okay.
Well, I mean, if I'm Dean Ambrose, I'm thinking to myself, okay, how many times have I actually beaten Bray Wyatt? It's probably better I just don't get involved.
But your friend Roman's out there. I mean,
yeah, but I think I've beaten Bray Wyatt once. I'll probably go out there and get beaten before he even throws a punch at Roman.
Lord knows an inanimate object might do something to him to cost him the match, too.
Yeah. There might be a hologram.
I feel that Ambrose put them a banana peel on his way to help Reigns. And they just didn't show it. That's what happened. Ambrose was running up, he slipped on a banana peel and fell, and that was the end of him.
Paul, I'd just like to say, I'm so glad you didn't have to see the hologram ending. I'm so glad you didn't have to see that. I'm gonna be honest with the Bray Wyatt thing and Roman. I don't care who wins. They've tried to make things interesting, and I appreciate it because it really wasn't doing anything for me when the whole thing got started. But in the grand scheme of things, I just can't care about this feud, because if Roman wins, I mean, they're inching him closer and closer to, his next big moment, which I still think they're hell-bent on getting him his WrestleMania moment. But with Bray Wyatt, it's like, well, okay, you beat Roman Reigns. Okay, who cares? Are you gonna be valuable at all again? Ever? No? No, you're not, because as soon as you start getting any sort of momentum, they're going to feed you to some other guy. So it's like, I appreciate that the hijinks and shenanigans between Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns they've been entertaining, but man, they cannot get me excited for this match.
I know,
Jacob, I agree with you. Like, it's this situation. It's just like, it doesn't really matter who wins this feud, because again, with Bray Wyatt, there's just no continuity with his character. Yeah, this past year, we have him squash Ambrose, and like you think they're going to build him to something, then he just loses to Taker, and all of his momentum is gone. So again, it's just like, who benefits from this feud? Is there any real benefit for either of these guys?
Not really. I mean, and that's the problem. We talked about this last week, where Bray Wyatt is pretty much in limbo right now because of the Undertaker match and everything. Like, he has no momentum whatsoever, and it's like, you're really gonna have to do something with him for him to get that momentum and that fear factor back.
What were you gonna say, Paul?
I want to care about this feud. I don't. I like both guys. I enjoy some of the work that they've done. There's nothing driving you to care, because as you guys said, they're just going to either do nothing with Bray at the end of it, or Reigns is going to get that win that is coming. So that what point is there to get invested in either side when you know the outcome?
I had no idea that there was a Bray Wyatt match coming up. I'm still on vacation from Bray Wyatt, so
just stay on vacation.
Okay. Hey, let me know when he gets better, or they allow him to get better, and I'm back on board.
I mean, this seems like if it just depends completely on what they're doing at SummerSlam. But if the idea is still the same to go with Reigns and Lesnar, then this is a one-off, and it even matters less, because Bray Wyatt's just going to be sitting there doing absolutely nothing for whatever they're going to do at SummerSlam. So at least there's one thing we can get excited about on this show: the United States Title Open Challenge, which is increasingly continuing to be the thing to watch on Raw every week. And this week was no different, as pretty much Kevin Owens, Cesaro, and Rusev come out to pretty much fight over the title and wanting their shot at John Cena. Everybody gets involved. I love this. I thought it was great to see Rusev again doing his thing. Back to the Rusev that we know. And we get a triple threat for a large part of it. And then Owens eventually leaves doing his thing. And we get Rusev and Cesaro by himself. My God, this match was amazing. Freaking triple Germans. We got a Tower of Doom spot. Cesaro freaking did a corkscrew splash to the outside. I mean, it's just amazing stuff from everybody here. And then while John Cena's sitting there over there on commentary, just acting like an asshole and being a heel almost. And then everybody didn't know what the hell to do during the Rusev John Cena match, because who booked this? Like, who just... This was mind-boggling to me. You just made Cena look like a total douche. Like, yeah. Who goes out here and wrestles Rusev, who's pretty much died before he got to the barely making it out against Cesaro? Then he's going to wrestle you, and you've been sitting there at commentary the entire time. Like, okay. But, well,
it's almost as if Rusev was the babyface here.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only was he sitting at commentary, he wasn't... He was being more asshole. Like, he's normally like this anyway, where like he says, yeah, this is an open challenge, but I'm gonna give it all my all, blah blah blah. But he was being, as you were saying, he was basically being a heel here, saying, yeah, these guys are, tough, fighting this out for an opportunity, but I'm gonna kick whoever wins his ass. Like, he was basically being very cocky on the mic at the commentary booth.
I mean, he's beaten every guy in there, so why not?
Yeah, but it just doesn't fit like Cena's normal persona, I feel.
I mean, I didn't feel like it was douchebaggery. It's just, hey, I'm the guy who defends this fight, our belt, every week. I've beaten these guys, and I'm going to fight the winner because the Authority said so. And that's, I mean, the heat's supposed to be on the Authority. Whether that came across or not, I don't know, because they only mentioned it on commentary like twice. So.
Yeah, I didn't really feel the heat was on the Authority at all. Like, I mean, yeah, they were the one that decided that, but, you know, I don't know. It just felt like Cena was being very cocky on the at the commentary booth.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but John Cena is now a big Hollywood star, so I'd be a little cocky too.
Jesus, train wreck. Good.
Yeah, but you know, I'll say this: the triple threat was awesome. I enjoyed it, although I will admit, having listened to Stone Cold's podcast a couple times and his thoughts on a lot of the modern wrestling, I am starting to recognize what he means when he says. You know, well, I guess it wasn't just him who said it. A lot of the older guys say it, but man, when a lot of these moves aren't finishers and you've just got crazy spot fests for like a Monday Night Raw match, it really, you really start to, you're moving the goalposts a little bit to where you get to like WrestleMania and you're like, what do you want? Like, we've given you like some amazing matches on TV like multiple times throughout the year. Like, what do you want from the next step up, you know? So I really enjoyed the triple threat a lot. I thought it was a little bizarre that we then go right to Rusev versus John Cena, but hey, you know what? It was basically a big setup for Owens to come back and be Owens, so I'm willing to look the other way. I think, yeah, I think it was already mentioned earlier, the United States title right now is kind of, well, with Brock Lesnar going after the main title, the U.S. title is kind of the title to watch because there's actual competition, and even though John Cena has held on to it against all these guys, they've been really good matches each time. So I'm really looking forward to the title defense at the next title defense, just because, man, I just don't know what I'm going to get on a given week. But I think my biggest concern is Rusev, and I mean, I'm excited to see him back and being like Rusev again, but man, yeah, his character's kind of taking a hit to me. I mean, yeah, he's back to just being big guy again, but I have my concerns that the stupid Lana subplot has kind of done more damage than it's done good.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
Especially because now it feels like worthless because Dolph is gone, and I mean, again, do these guys not think about anything when they begin these feuds? Like, you don't know that Ziggler has to leave in 3 or 4 weeks? Like, did they just book this and then somebody goes, hey, sorry to tell you, but Dolph has to go to do a movie like now. And they're like, what? Oh, crap.
That's them booking Dolph in the movie. It's like last year with the whole Ambrose and Rollins thing. Like, Ambrose left the minute their feud was getting hot. It was like, why did they book a movie deal for Ambrose during this hot feud? Or like if Orton or Paige
but those
earlier
things
this
are
year.
those things are usually done way in advance, but it's just it's like they forget when they are.
But they own this. They can decide the schedule. They can decide. They can change the filming schedule for us. So it's their own fault for that.
Well, I feel like the two groups, the wrestling side and the film side, are two completely separate entities, basically. And I feel like the writing staff for Raw and for all the wrestling stuff has such tunnel vision now, where they're only focused on, like, they're not writing things for extended periods of time. They're only writing for, you know, a couple of weeks in advance, basically, so they don't have a plan and they don't think outside of what they're doing in the wrestling ring. So that's the problem that I see there.
I want to go back to what Jacob was talking about, Rusev, and he has taken a hit. But you know what? To me, in this episode of Raw, I really felt like that he got a little bit more of a nice little shove up, you know, just kind of a mini push or something. I just feel good about him a little bit more than I did. I'm kind of ignoring the whole situation with Lana and all that right now, especially with her not being there. I think it's fine, but I'm more concerned about Cesaro after this whole mess, because I don't know, once he's out of that picture, they're just going to put him back where he once was. That scares me.
Cesaro is how I feel about with the Divas that we were talking about earlier, about how, yeah, it's cool what they're doing with him right now, but will they be doing this with him in 6 months? That's how, like, the WrestleMania 30 situation with Cesaro has completely burned me with how they book him. After that, or how they just completely lost the boat on that one. But now when it comes to Cesaro, I'm just like, just waiting with bated breath to see what they do.
But that's what's hypocritical about this, because, like, you're going to be using what you saw with Cesaro on Raw as the same basis for what you're going to do with the Divas. It's going to be the wrestling that gets the people into the matches and into what they're doing. Then later, they're going to start they're going to start building whatever the storyline is with the 3 teams or whatever the hell is going to be built around the wrestling and all this stuff and the people reacting to it and all that. The way people have been reacting to Cesaro the last 3 weeks, there's no way, unless Vince is just that senile, he can go, oh, the people just don't care about this guy. Like,
they were going hot from after 30, though. They were going hot from after 30, and then they just didn't do anything with him, though. That's the thing.
But this is against John Cena. This is in a big-time feud. He's getting showcase time, and he's getting reactions, and he's not only getting a small reaction, he's getting big reactions. He's showing you he can hang with everybody. Like, what else does Vince need?
Chris had the same thing as well. Huge reactions, and then do you think they're going to do something with him? Then Vince is like, oh, he's too ugly, so then Vince is stuck in his ways. If Vince really doesn't think that Cesaro can be a guy, could be Swiss or whatever, then that's just always going to happen, no matter how much reactions he gets, until he's forced into like a Daniel Bryan scenario with it.
True, but
I mean,
I don't know.
With Ryback going down and stuff like that, you might be in a situation like that where maybe you want to take a chance with him on the IC title. He couldn't hurt any more than what they've already done.
I mean, and you can do
how
what...
fresh that belt is. I don't wish that on Cesaro.
I mean,
somebody's got to break it, man.
Yeah, true. It's like that Madden curse. Somebody had to break it at some point. I just think that, supposedly, the whole deal was that Bryan and Cena were supposed to do the same thing for each title. You finally now have someone, if you have Cesaro win it, who can do that for you. Who can be the guy that you put any guy against him, he can have a great match, and you can have him carry the belt for a while or whatever. And if you want to go to a unification match sometime, you can do it. Because Cena and Cesaro already have the built-in history, or Owen and Cesaro already have the built-in history there too. So, but WWE doesn't do long-term planning. So, unless it's with Roman Reigns. So it just
see, the problem with that plan, Sean, is how do we get to Cena versus Orton during that? That's what I want to know.
Oh, God. Why do we have to bring this up again? I thought we were done with this feud. Yeah, so I mean, I think that pretty much like covered. I mean, we talked about the. So how did you guys think that contract signing segment went? I thought it was actually pretty good from a perspective of we know Rollins can act. We know he does really well in the whole chicken shit deal. I forgot to mention that. Hey, the New Day got pinned again by the Primetime Players, and Mark Henry was the guy that did it. So,
I love my sexual chocolate.
I will say, I hope it leads to the New Day getting the titles back when Mark Henry turns heel for absolutely no reason.
Because why not?
What I would hope it would result in is a 3-on-3, like a bigger 3-on-3 matchup at like a pay-per-view or something between the New Day and Primetime Players plus Mark Henry.
I just don't know. Yeah, I want to be excited about the Primetime Players, but because I do like them. I like them a lot. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm kind of running out of steam for the tag team division because I've gotten what I wanted. It's kind of a monkey's paw thing. We have an actual tag team division with actual tag teams, and there's more than 2 or 3. And and they have decent matches. I mean, you can criticize it all you want. You know what? I'm still proud of the WWE for trying something bizarre and different with that Elimination Chamber with tag teams in it. Didn't really work, but hey, they tried, and I appreciated that. But at the same time, I feel like with the tag teams as it currently stands, I'm just like, all right, who's going to get the belts next? We don't just need more. We need all of the different teams to be showcased a little bit better, because I feel like New Day right now is probably the one tag team that everybody knows because they're getting more exposure than just about anybody, including the champions at times. And I don't know. I'm running out of, I wouldn't say interest, but I just don't have the enthusiasm for tag team matches as I used to.
They haven't really given you a great reason to care about them either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, other than the New Day, the primetime players have their whole millions of dollars gimmick, but other than that, like, no one...
Well, can you tell me what the primetime players' characters are?
No!
That's
that's exactly what I was going to say, was, besides that, they don't really have any true gimmick or character, so, like, the only team that really has a character profile and a gimmick is the New Day. And so, like, that's all you really care about. So you don't have that whole, the multiple different factions, not really factions, but different tag teams that have different personas, and there's a reason that they're going against each other.
Yep.
Yeah. So, how did you guys think that the ending segment came off? I thought that was well done for the most part.
I thought it was a contract signing. It was most definitely a contract signing.
Oh, it was definitely a contract signing, but I did like how this is further progressing them towards what we've been predicting for a while, if it is going to happen, which is a SummerSlam matchup between Seth Rollins and Triple H. He's further isolating himself from the rest of the Authority, and I think after... I feel like more than likely Lesnar will win the title because Rollins has no help behind him at Battleground. And then Rollins will turn on Triple H as well and say, hey, you should have helped me, yada, yada, yada. I'm the future of the WWE. I'm the man. And, like, Triple H gets fed up with it. So, I mean, this is just further continuing that process of him, even though he tried to, redeem himself with the Authority and he made amends for a little bit, now he's broken them down entirely again.
See, I can't see Rollins and Triple H happening at SummerSlam because it's so soon after Battleground. There's not like a long enough period to turn either one of them babyface or heel, and I wouldn't turn Rollins heel right now because they're so short, or Rollins babyface because they're so short on the heel side, and then turning Triple H face, it's interesting, but then he's going to have to turn heel again to face the Rocketmania next year because that's what the plan is.
Yeah.
You know what, Chris?
We know how WWE is with making very quick plans.
Oh yeah, and you know what? The heel face scenario. Hey, WWE has this thing called 50 Shades of Grey that they use on their heels and faces. So.
Oh, well, as long as they don't come out with whips and that stuff, I'm good.
That's later on, Sean. That's the after party with Renee Young and everybody. So.
Oh dear.
Yeah, with Natalya, because she was trying to do that at one point.
Oh yeah, with the bananas and everything. So, but the one thing I will say is, this whole thing, I'm okay. I know I'm okay with it all. It's contract signing, like Jacob said. But my biggest thing here that I have to highlight that I loved was the Clint Eastwood moment that Brock Lesnar had by putting the axe handle, whatever that was, out there on the table and said, "Hey, take it, Rollins." I just think it's a cool thing. I think it kind of is fun. I enjoyed that.
They do know how to do one thing right, and that is to make Brock Lesnar look like a complete and total badass at every turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love the fact that he just put the table down and was like, oh, here's this. Those axe handles look terrible, by the way. Like, who in the hell thought that that's just a great weapon?
I have no idea.
Just that is the worst looking weapon they could probably come up with. And
yeah, just use a baseball bat or a
what happened to the kendo stick?
Yeah.
Just
Doesn't Tommy Dreamer have the rights to that? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
I think Blackman has the right to the kendo stick.
Yeah, there you go, Steve Blackman. Missed that guy.
So Chris just sent me this thing. Rollins responded to Johnny Mundo saying that he could take him anywhere and beat him at anything. Rollins said, if I'm not mistaken, I believe John Morrison is a 0-time WWE World Champion. Mind you, 0. As in, never once did he win the big one. And I'm not even 3 years into my WWE career, and I've already won Money in the Bank, the WWE title at WrestleMania, first ever NXT champion. So there's a lot of things I've already destroyed John Morrison at. And if John Morrison thinks he can take me in any of those endeavors, I would love for John Morrison to step up and say something like that to my face. So,
holla.
Man, burn.
Not only is it great, it's still in character, and that's the best part. That's really the best part. I love Seth Rollins, I really do. That guy's he's got his character just down pat. It's awesome.
I love that he congratulated EC3.
Go on.
Oh, I was just saying, I love that he congratulated EC3 on Twitter too. I think that was classy.
Yeah. I doubt we'll ever see it, but I would love to see John Morrison re-sign with WWE just to see that feud.
Yeah, it'll become the new Rollins-Ziggler feud. It just never ends.
I would be against it because then what kind of job would Kofi have after that? Who would they have in the Royal Rumble? It wouldn't be Kofi anymore.
Yeah. Good point. That is still my most memorable Royal Rumble moment was in 2011, Morrison clamping onto the barricade and then getting up and jumping off onto the steel steps.
Yeah.
They can just do the stuff in stereo.
That's right.
Hey, there you go. You can have a tag team, a black guy and a white guy. There you go. Tear down some barriers, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
this
that would
time,
actually be a very interesting tag team. Morrison and Kofi Kingston, just the ultimate high flyers.
Just call them spot monkeys.
Watch them dominate the mid card and never make it to the main event.
Yeah.
And then hopefully Morrison doesn't suffer an Evan Bourne injury and be out forever.
Yeah.
So, cause
well, Morrison, you got to hope that he's not with Melina anymore.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yep. So, well, guys, I think
do this rating for this.
Yeah.
For this Raw. Out of 10, what do you think?
Man, I don't know. There were some high points. There were some low points. I would say the highest point of the show is probably the Divas moment for me, which is really weird to say. But I'd still give it it wasn't bad, but it wasn't particularly great either. So I'll give it a 7 and just be nice.
7 works for me too.
I was thinking 6. A lot of the other show didn't matter outside the Divas, the main event title stuff, and the U.S. title stuff. Everything else you can take or leave or not even watch, and you wouldn't miss anything. And that's probably still 2/3 of the show.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6. I mean, there were some decent moments, but again, it was a show with a lot of filler getting ready for Battleground. It was basically just a pre-show for Battleground.
Yeah. 6 sounds good to me. Yep, 6 is a good number for me as well.
You going with that 6?
Yeah, I think I'll stick with 6.
I don't know. I kind of I don't know. I was really pumped for the Divas segment and everything. So I thought for the most part, they could have done it much worse. I know people are just bitching and moaning on so many message boards and everything about how it's the worst thing ever. But, I guess it wouldn't be them if they weren't complaining about it being the worst thing ever. So.
Yeah, that's the way it works. I know I did a little bit of it myself, but once again, I wanted it to be about the NXT Divas, not about Stephanie. So, well, guys, that makes up a Monday Night Raw for us. We want to thank Brandon Biscobing for joining us again for Monday Night Raw, man. Thanks a lot for coming back on, man.
Yep, and are you guys doing a Battleground preview?
Yeah, we're doing that right next.
Then I'll stick around just for a bit.
You want to stick around? Okay, well, we are gonna rapid fire through the Battleground. So, Sean, do we have a track for that?
Yes, we do.
All right, we'll be right back with a Battleground preview. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into this thing with the pre-show. I know everybody's going to be glued to their WWE network just to see this pre-show. Whatever. Anyway, King Barrett versus R-Truth.
Another one?
Can we just skip this? Like, just not even talk about this.
I know.
It's so irrelevant.
This is 2 pay-per-views in a row. 2 pre-shows in a row.
Vince loves to troll everyone.
Yep.
So.
It's terrible, so we'll just rapid fire through this. Brandon, who's your pick?
I'll take R-Truth just because King Barrett just cannot catch a break, and I think his devolution will continue.
All right, Jacob.
I'm going to go with R-Truth because it's Wade Barrett and it's the King of the Ring.
All right, Chris. Let's talk about something that doesn't matter. You know what? I'm probably going to be very wrong with this, but Barrett, just let's pretend like to give him a shot to Barrett for false hope.
All right.
I said that last month and it didn't work.
There's no way that they already have Truth have his crown and Plunger. They're not going to take that away from him. So Barrett will keep his junk that he has, and it will just be 2 months of a feud that was all to just go around in circles. That's what that feud is for.
That's right. All right, Paul, who do you got?
I'm going with Barrett too. Let's not act like that plunger is a sacred thing, Sean.
It's a sacred thing to Truth because he carries it around. He's happy to have that plunger and that Burger King hat. So
maybe he's a son of a plumber too. You never know. Well, we also have Glenn Smith on the line with us. Welcome to the show, Glenn.
Howdy.
Hey, man. So we are rapid firing through Battleground. Who is your pick for this
as
first?
long as you don't do that again. We can
Sorry
keep you
about
on
that,
here.
dude. Sorry.
That's all right. Who's your pick?
Well, I gotta say, I'm only picking him just because I like the gimmick infringement on TL Hopper, R-Truth.
All right. Fair enough. I am going to go with King Barrett. I just think that, I think they're going to try to hopefully end this. So King Barrett will probably be the guy on top. What we're going to move on in this thing, and we're going to move on to something that hopefully matters more over all the rest of this stuff. Let's go ahead and talk about Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. Now, this one's going to be interesting. Are they going to let Reigns continue on in a momentum-wise, or is Bray Wyatt going to finally, maybe sneak out a win here? So, what do you think, Brandon?
Just because, as we were mentioning with Reigns being perceived to have some sort of big moment at WrestleMania, I don't think they're going to want to stifle his momentum at all. So Bray Wyatt will fall further and further down and will go into more obscurity, and Roman Reigns will win this match. Even though I would like to see Bray Wyatt win.
Paul?
Yeah, Roman Reigns for the win. As much as that would kind of be cool to see Bray win, it's going to be Reigns.
Glenn?
Oof. I gotta say, this is probably one of the only matches on the card that I have no idea who's going to win. To be honest, my thoughts are leaning Roman, but tiniest of chance, less than 15%, say Wyatt.
Okay. Chris?
I actually think that this feud is going to SummerSlam, so logically, Bray should win the first match, so I'm going to pick Bray.
Sean?
I just think that WWE doesn't even know what they want to do with this, so I'll just say Roman, and this thing ends right here.
Jacob?
It's going to be Roman, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I've got Roman as well. I just don't imagine that they're going to let him stop the momentum train.
Would you guys describe this to be a filler feud, or do you see this going on a couple of months?
It's a filler feud.
It's a filler. Even if it goes a couple of months, it's still a filler feud.
Yeah, I was thinking filler feud as well.
All right. Well, that is that match. We will move on, and why don't we talk about the Primetime Players versus the New Day? Now, is the New Day going to get their, comeuppance? Are they going to get a chance to retain, or not retain, but gain their titles back? Excuse me. Or will the Primetime Players retain? Well, Chris, what do you think?
New Day to retain, or not to regain the belts.
Sean?
I've actually kind of enjoyed seeing Primetime Players be champions, but I think New Day has lost so much. It just strikes me as it's time for New Day to get them back. And if you've never seen it, Xavier Woods doing his up, down, down YouTube videos with like a bunch of the members of the roster, that stuff is hilarious. Especially watching Rusev play video games, it just doesn't. He's the guy that would do that.
I love that one. I gotta say, favorite episode.
Yeah, that was a pretty good episode as well. Well, who do you got, Glenn?
How about this to say it? Millions of dollars, millions of dollars, millions of dollars.
All right, Paul. Who do you got?
I too have Primetime Players retaining. Hopefully they do something more with them after this match.
Jacob?
Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. Primetime Players, please.
Awesome, I love it. Brandon?
For 1,000?
I am so torn on this because on one hand I feel like Primetime Players have the titles and like they've only had it for a month and they don't want to destroy that momentum. But at the same time, I feel like they've been using New Day so much more than Primetime Players. So I'll say the Primetime Players will retain, but I think it'll be a very interesting match. Maybe Mark Henry gets involved somehow or something. I don't know.
May I add just a kind of a thought? I think night after Battleground, I think they're going to go and have a rematch for the the tag titles, and then New Day wins onto SummerSlam, and I from what I'm hearing, it's looking like was it Jay or Jimmy that got injured of Jay. I from what I've heard, I think he's probably super close to getting back onto the road full time. So I'm thinking possibly the Usos may return sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's a good thought, and hey, if they get back, I know it'll definitely help that division. So we shall see. I'm going to go ahead and go with the New Day. I just kind of feel like, man, Primetime Players, I love them. I just don't see them hold on to the belts too long. Tyson Kidd getting injured, mess up the plans. That's why they got the belts eventually. But, New Day probably get it back. Moving on, we're going to talk about one of the most exciting matches that we haven't seen enough of, Sheamus and Randy Orton. And I know everybody's excited about talking about this one. So, Chris, we'll start with you.
Can I ask you guys a question? What are they even feuding about? Does anyone remember how this even started? I was thinking about this earlier today. What's the point of this feud?
Rehashing old stuff from Royal Rumble 2010.
I think, like I mentioned last week, I think it's one of those WWE 2K type of feuds where they were just started just by giving them a match, and it was just like, oh, we're just going to continue giving them matches.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that sounds like WWE logic to me.
As for my pick to win, their Battleground in St. Louis, so they usually like to have the hometown guy lose. And if the plan is to, at some point, Sheamus to cash in, get looking stronger, so Sheamus to win.
All right, I like that. Brandon, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to give the win to Sheamus just because if they're planning on doing anything with the contract, with the Money in the Bank, and they're not planning on having him give it up to someone at some point, then yeah, he has to keep some momentum, so he's gonna win this.
All right, Sean.
Randy Orton.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Glenn?
I'm going to have to go with my hometown guy, my friend and yours, Randy Orton. And also, it'll be kind of cool to be a part of the reaction when his music hits on Sunday.
Okay. Jacob?
Yeah, it's going to be Orton, and I don't know. I think they're going to try and pull a fast one on people with the Money in the Bank. Not necessarily at Battleground, but I think they're trying to stomp Sheamus into obscurity for a little while.
Paul?
God, I hope you're wrong. Sheamus, because I want the exact opposite of what Jay just said to not happen.
Too bad.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it works for the WWE. It happens.
I think we're also kind of forgetting, like, just because if Sheamus loses on Sunday doesn't mean that he may successfully cash in. I mean, look at Seth Rollins. He lost at WrestleMania, and yet he still walked out with the WWE Championship.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Sheamus. I just kind of feel like, the Money in the Bank contract and all the things that entail with him, maybe, being one of the upper card guys and then wanting to keep him looking good at least and not put him down too much. So, yeah, I think momentum's on Sheamus' side here. Well, let's talk about some matches that we actually are very excited about. We're looking forward to the most. Let's go and start with John Cena and Kevin Owens for that U.S. title. Now, I'm really, hoping that this is as good as I'm expecting. Paul, what are your thoughts on this one?
Which match are we talking about again? Sorry.
Cena and Owens.
Oh, okay. This match should be awesome. Another match of the year candidate. They have another tall task ahead of them to try to top what they did the last time. But hopefully they find a way to do it. Kevin Owens gets the big victory here, hopefully, and we move right along to the main event.
Jacob?
I'm going to agree with Paul on that one. Hope it's a great match, and I hope Kevin Owens wins. I hope he wins clean, and we can just move on.
Glenn?
I gotta say, it's more of a case of who I want to win and who I think over who I think is going to win. I want Kevin Owens to win, but there's a sneaking feeling in me that Cena may somehow pull the victory. But I mean, either way, I'll still be happy I getting a KO shirt from the merch stand.
Awesome. Yeah, I want one of those too. Of course, I want the original one.
Oh, yeah.
Sean?
Yeah, this should be fantastic. Should be one of the matches that we're talking about at the end of the night. It's one of the things you remember the most. I'm going to think that Kevin Owens wins here, becomes U.S. champion after he lost his NXT title. And we move on to SummerSlam with something. Maybe somehow this is where we have the four-way or whatever.
Oh, fair enough. Chris?
I'm going to say no contest to build to their final blow-off match at SummerSlam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. I think that this will be a no contest due to interference. I think Cesaro and Rusev, or one or the other, will come in and interfere, and we'll end up having a fatal triple threat or probably a fatal four-way at SummerSlam for the U.S. title.
This is difficult. You guys have brought up some great points. I'm still going to go with my original pick. I'm still going to go Kevin Owens winning the U.S. title. But, I mean, you're making me second guess here, so that's a good job. Now we're going to go on to that, probably the big event, and that is Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins here. And this is going to be interesting. A lot of people think that maybe Lesnar has the chance to be champion once this pay-per-view is over, but other people could disagree. So, Jacob, what do you think?
Oh, man. This one, if we're going by how it should go, Brock Lesnar should win in like 5 minutes flat. But I think this match is going to go a little bit longer than that. I think, obviously, I think Seth Rollins will actually look like $1 million, but I think he's still going to lose the title. I think he's actually going to show up in a big way, but I still expect him to drop the title. It's going to kind of be his like swan song to just kind of prove to the Authority, yeah, I don't need your help. I'm the champion for a reason, but he's still going to lose because it's Brock Lesnar, and I don't see any way that he just loses to Seth Rollins.
Sean, do you agree?
Well, if we believe the rumors about the Undertaker showing up at this Battleground, which he apparently already has a plane ticket and everything, and he's supposed to be on the Raw the next night as well, that perhaps something happens where Undertaker inadvertently costs Lesnar the match, and Seth Rollins retains. Because I just can't see them doing Brock as champion this early. But, you know, who knows? I could be totally wrong on that. I don't see it. I know that Rollins' title reign hasn't been that great, and, you know, the ratings are going down or whatever, but putting the title on somebody that's not going to be there after next month is probably not going to help either.
Well, I would say I feel like The Undertaker's its own separate discussion, frankly, but I honestly think that when the WWE realizes that the cat's out of the bag on what they were hoping to be like a super big surprise, they tend to knee-jerk away from that. So I fully expect everyone to be like the entire arena to be in Undertaker gear, ready for the Undertaker to show up, and then he no-shows, and then he shows up at the very last second tomorrow night, or the night after, you know? Mm-hmm. Just because the WWE doesn't want to... They always got to have the last laugh, you know? I mean, I see what you're going with, but I just... Now that it's like it's making the news on like every wrestling site, I know Vince, he's just going to be like, yeah, you think you've got me figured out? Well, bam, Raw. Deal with it.
That's true. Brandon, what's your pick?
I'm going to say either A, Lesnar wins it clean and we go into the whole Rollins further going away from the Authority storyline, or B, Rollins either wins it cleanly by some miracle or like gets himself disqualified or counted out or something just to retain it, and that further isolates himself. But I don't see this. I feel like it's either going to be a Lesnar clean finish or some sort of interference is going to occur, or a count out or something.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, this is tough because I can't see them having Lesnar be pinned, because I'm assuming that he's going to be unbeaten till WrestleMania for that. If for every reason they want to go over the Brock Taker rematch, I imagine they'll just keep him unpinned. So, and I can't see him being champion again, because again, he's not going to be there all the time. I don't think they want to do that again. So, Rollins by DQ.
Okay, Glenn.
Sean, I hate you so much because you said nearly identical to what my prediction was, but I'm going to actually kind of...
okay, I'll take in all the hate over it.
I'm going to kind of toss a bit of another screw into the gear cogs that is the WWE. I'm going to say the ref gets knocked out, and then while Lesnar and Rollins are brawling with the chairs and what have you, all this sudden we hear we have Lesnar hitting the F5. The ref starts counting. As soon as we get to 2.5, we hear a gong. Undertaker shows up is appearing on the stage, and it's kind of like you know how that there's the moments where the cowboy that rode off beaten comes back and just says and does nothing, and he looks like 1,000 and millions and what have you bucks, and then Rollins tries going for a schoolboy roll up. Lesnar kicks out. Undertaker starts to make his way down the aisle. Ref gets knocked out again, and then we hear the sound of a crow calling. Sting appears and holds him off from trying to interfere.
Okay. All right. I like that.
Elaborate. That's very elaborate. I don't know how well.
I think it's like overbooking right there.
Sorry, but
I think I saw that on TNA once.
The end result, I'm thinking, will unfortunately be Lesnar winning. I mean, I will say, as much as I am a Paul Heyman guy, and for all the promos Paul Heyman does, and how awesome the Suplex City stuff is, I don't know how WWE can make me get behind Brock Lesnar after WrestleMania 30 and nearly like beating Undertaker in like a shoot fight and not like a wrestling match that we know of today's standards.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Paul.
Going with Seth to retain, mostly because I don't think there's anything down the rabbit hole of Brock Lesnar winning the championship that you haven't already backed out on. So Seth Rollins to retain somehow, some way.
Yeah, I think this is going to be another case of Tom and Jerry, cat and mouse game here. Seth Rollins is going to run around, do whatever he can, and even if he has to be DQ'd, he's going to find a way to retain his belt. And, all the other stuff, it could be there somewhere, somehow. But I just think that Seth Rollins is going to retain here for me personally. But let us get into, before we leave this, let's go ahead and jump into the thought process of Undertaker and also Sting being a part of this. Or maybe even we can talk a little bit about the following show, the Monday Night Raw following this pay-per-view. What do you guys look to see really happening with this? Are we setting up for a Undertaker Lesnar? Are we setting up for Undertaker and Sting at SummerSlam? I want to know your guys' predictions based on what you've heard about these guys appearing in the next week.
I think I could see a Undertaker Sting. I don't think we'll see Undertaker Lesnar right now. I think that would be more of a WrestleMania rematch type of thing, kind of Shawn Michaels Undertaker type of situation. But yeah, so I would think if anything were to happen, I think actually what Glenn was saying would be the most likely, where Undertaker comes in trying to interfere, against Lesnar, and then maybe Sting, comes out and. But the only problem that I see with that is that's. I mean, again, this is kind of WWE doesn't really care. It's one of those like Jericho coming out to interfere for the NWO, but he's not really part of the NWO. If Sting is interfering against Undertaker, does that mean that he's part of the Authority? Which it wouldn't.
Ooh.
You wouldn't think, because he was just fighting against Triple H. So, I mean, that's the only problem that I see with that theory. But I could see Sting, going up against Undertaker somehow.
If I may say something, I think we're also kind of forgetting what WCW's Crow character that Sting had. He was a vigilante. He was the I really like that his Starrcade '97 entrance.
Oh, the vigilante Sting.
Well, not necessarily that, but the part of when a man's heart is full of deceit, it dies, and oh crap, I can't forget, but I just remember the first part. When a man's heart is full of deceit. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's the Undertaker. He's the darkest character in WWE, and just kind of just the transition he's had throughout all these years. As many atrocious things that he's done, but like Lesnar basically killed the Undertaker at WrestleMania 30 because the only thing left that the Undertaker that was still relevant was his streak. And the minute Undertaker had that soul, it even pains me to talk about that one. It's like permanently saying he's no longer perfect at WrestleMania. And then that's absolutely killing him, which I think would have been a better retirement than anything. But besides that, like the whole man's heart full of deceit, it dies, and then I think we're going to see a reemergence of a heelish in an extent Undertaker.
Okay.
That would be interesting. But on the flip side, one thing that I'd love to see, but I doubt they'll do it just for multiple reasons. But I would love to see if Undertaker were to come back for more than just one appearance, I would love for him to come and go against Kane again and basically say, what are you doing? You're the devil's favorite demon. Why are you being such a sellout?
I am always a fan of more Undertaker Kane, regardless of the quality of matches.
Yes.
Agreed. It's also if you think about it, it's kind of a reverse thing of the end result of the Buried Alive match that Undertaker had against McMahon at Survivor Series. Like the reason why Kane betrayed the Undertaker was because he was being too much of a normal human. He's not the dead man, and then just kind of almost reversing the roles.
Yeah. Okay. Great points, guys. Well, Jacob, what do you think? I mean, Undertaker, Sting, and where does Ken Shamrock fit in this?
Let me tell you something. Ken Shamrock belongs in a museum. As far as Undertaker goes, I just don't see him showing up at Battleground. I just don't. I expected to see him on Raw, and I really don't care to see Undertaker Brock Lesnar again. Like I just don't care to see it. Brock Lesnar already wins. I mean, even if the Undertaker beats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, what does it prove? Well, you've already lost, so it doesn't matter. It just doesn't. It's just one of those, let's move on and do something different. What it really tells me is that Vince has absolutely no idea what to do with The Undertaker if they try and do Taker Brock Lesnar. On the other hand, Sting. Anybody who wants to see Sting in the WWE after WrestleMania, what match did you see? Like, did you see a different match than the one that I did? Because I saw one where they basically just said, do you like this guy from WCW? Do you guys remember this guy? Yeah, well, screw him.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no desire to see them disrespect Sting again. And I don't even say this as a huge Sting fan. I'm not. But it's just like, yeah, well, Sting was kind of cool, but he was no Degeneration X. Right, everybody? Huh? Okay. Well,
I think the whole Triple H Sting thing was more or less the burnout version of NWO versus DX.
No, it was Triple H's ego.
Yeah, that's basically
yeah. Vince's ego
It
too.
was Triple H and McMahon both saying we
Screw
we're better than
WCW
you because we won.
Are we forgetting that Sting was an NWO Wolfpack? I gotta say.
Oh, trust me, I remember. Yeah,
I'd like to forget all that.
Personally,
crap, but
my
okay.
favorite entrance theme, like as in terms of faction wise of WCW, was the Wolfpack theme.
Yeah.
What?
That don't turn your back on the Wolfpack, you might wind up in a body bag.
I'm still sticking with the Four Horsemen. I love that theme.
I actually have Four Horsemen and the I personally love the original NWO.
Come on.
I will say the only WCW themes I actually have on my iPad, which I'm Skyping on, by the way, is the Four Horsemen theme and the Wolfpack theme.
Ah, see? Good.
Or we could just use the Nitro thing. That was pretty cool.
There you go. One thing we got to remember too, also, guys, is there is Triple H who's a part of this process, and we're talking about the future, of course, and SummerSlam, but WrestleMania 32 is also in that thought process, and he's kind of trying to lobby Vince to have Undertaker face Kevin Owens, and not so much facing Lesnar again. What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
To go back with the Sting thing, yeah, I agree with Jacob wholeheartedly. After Sting and Triple H, there is no desire. I don't see why people want to see Sting again. And I don't think they even wanted to see it because I don't know why they had Sting lose. That just completely killed a lot of his momentum or any interest I've ever seen him in
Sting
Taker.
and Taker they shared a room together. They were seen together talking many times. It might be an Undertaker and Sting mutual thing they want to do.
Okay, here's the thing with that. Notice how with Sting and Triple H that they had to use so many smoke and mirrors to keep the match going. What kind of smoke and mirrors can they use in a Sting and Taker match during the match? Yeah, the entrance will be fine. The first 5 minutes will be pretty cool. Then the ending of the whole Taker reversing the death drop in the tombstone. But that 20 minutes in between is just like, God.
I don't think that it doesn't need to be 20 minutes in between.
Or I'm saying the general match in between. Like, it's not going to just be 5 minutes.
But Taker knows what he's doing. I'm pretty sure they're both going to be on their game. They're going to hit their spots. We're going to get everything we get in an Undertaker and Sting match that that they do. And they're not going to sit there and try to make it overly long. We might have some lay-down spots to milk the crowd and all that, whatever. But I think that they both know their limits at this point if they do it. And they're not going to sit there and try to make it a bigger deal than it is because he knows he's not working with Shawn Michaels or whatever. He can't make it more than... Because we got to remember, Taker had a concussion in that match with Brock. We don't know if that match would have been... It could have been much better if he didn't have the concussion.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also another reason why I hate Brock Lesnar, because I mean, just kind of that shoot fight feel. I think he needs to remember that this isn't real. WWE, I'm sorry for the listeners, is fake. But I know I'm going to get complaints.
Don't be talking about it being fake on this show.
I'm not
still real to me.
Damn it. Yeah, but, I know. But I'm saying fake in the sense of the fact that protect the guy. He has a family. Don't actually kill him.
You can't control that all the time.
I do agree with Glenn in that that's the one problem that I dread if there is another Undertaker versus Lesnar match. Was that match just felt like a total shoot beatdown that Lesnar put on Undertaker, and that I think if it was a fair fight and like Undertaker had some good spots and like Undertaker looked like he actually had a chance in that match, I don't think people would have been nearly as pissed off about the streak being ended by Lesnar as they were because of the way that match ended up, where Undertaker just looked completely and totally broken and dead.
I mean, he did have a concussion.
Thank you.
Well, yes, I know that, but like Lesnar should have at least given him a little bit of a shot. I mean, granted, yes, Undertaker's a lot older than Michaels is, but I mean, Michaels kept on going. I forget what he had, like broken ribs or a broken leg or something a while back. Like back in the 90s or no, mid 2000s, I think. And there have been a plethora of other guys who have gotten serious injuries midway through matches and have continued and still made it seem like they were competitive. Whereas the Undertaker-Lesnar match, it was just, he had one suplex and then Undertaker looked like he was completely gone. And there was no competition whatsoever.
You know,
well, when we take a suplex from Lesnar, then we can understand how Taker felt.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say...
You get a trip to Suplex City,
Well, I was gonna say, and this is probably like hot sports opinions. I apologize if I offend anybody with this, but I'll go ahead and say it. I don't want to see Undertaker wrestle anymore at WrestleMania. I don't.
Blasphemy!
Yeah, I know. It sounds crazy, but you know what? We got him versus Bray Wyatt, and that was so awesome on the card. I'm so glad it was on a WrestleMania. I'm so glad that took up a spot. It just got me so pumped up to see The Undertaker beat up some younger guy for absolutely no reason. Undertaker, he's old, he's beat up, and it's okay to have these kind of what-if matches like Undertaker versus Sting, or we've already done it, I don't want to see it twice, but Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, and those are okay, but I don't really want to see Undertaker take on Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens isn't going to be the first one to break...
If Owens beats him, and that's it, you don't see any more Undertaker, I'm fine with it, because that means Owens really got to get put over, and you're done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but even then, if that was what you're going to do, you should have done it with Lesnar and not go, okay, I'm back to beat the crap out of Bray Wyatt and, you know, make him look even stupider. So, yeah. I know it's not a popular opinion. I don't care about Undertaker anymore.
The one match that everybody seems to be clamoring for before Taker retires seems to be Cena and Taker.
That match would have made more sense if the streak was still intact. Now it means nothing.
You know, to be honest, if they're going to have anybody that faces Taker at WrestleMania 32 and it's not Sting, I want to see Finn Balor just because think about the entrances for both. I mean, from what I know, Undertaker actually helped out Finn Balor working on his big demon entrance. I mean, but just that would just look so amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's male pleasure at its finest.
The only people that I would want to see Undertaker face at this point are either A, Sting, B, Finn Balor, like you said, because of the entrances, or C, do my idea and have it be against Kane and actually have a legit storyline behind it.
I would be okay with that. Just actually, that would be an opportunity for you to retire both of them. Retire Kane, retire Undertaker, put them away.
Yep, I think so. You can end it with a bunch of fire and smoke. There you go.
Have them bury each other, or have someone else come in and bury both of them.
Just call Triple H.
Can the match end with them burying Big Show and then calling it a day?
Yeah,
that
then yes, Triple H comes out, puts down a lawn chair, and just sits on top.
Done deal.
If they're going to do Undertaker versus Kane, I think they would have it end in a no contest, just kind of like both each other, like they're on their backs, they reach their arm over and barely have their hand on one another's chest. Ref counts to 3. They both walk out and do that arm in the air as they go backstage.
Yeah, I have to see. So, all right, guys. Well, we've had a lot of conversation, a lot of good discussion, but we have to move out of this Battleground preview and move on and do some other things. So I just want to stop and thank Brandon Bisco-Bean for being on the show with us, man. Thanks.
Yep, no problem, and I'll talk to you guys Sunday night after Battleground.
Sounds good, buddy. And Glenn Smith, man, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, it was a pleasure being there, and it's going to be an awesome pleasure going to be at Battleground, because I gotta say, just thinking about my Welcome to St. Suplex City 16 German, 1 advocate and 1 beast sign. It's giving me goosebumps now. And also, I kind of get the full day. I get to go see a cards game, and then I gotta jet on over to the Scott Trade Center and enjoy my Battleground.
Awesome, man.
And
Well,
also,
you have a great time.
And also, I'm going to have to get Kevin Owens' shirt, Suplex City shirt, even though I hate where the money's going, and another Kevin Owens shirt.
Well, and have a great time this weekend, and we'll
Yeah.
be talking to you soon, man.
You know, if it's all right with you guys, would be all right if I joined you for the Battleground post show, so I can tell you what atmosphere and best reaction.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Just depending on when we started, I have a G1 to watch right after, so we have to make it quick. we can't be there for 4 hours.
I will say I'm going to sound more like John Laurinaitis than I am me.
Oh, that's great.
All
We
right.
have people power right there.
There you go. All right.
It's Mr. John Laurinaitis.
There you go. Well, thanks, Glenn. We'll be talking to you soon, man.
Have a good one. Bye, guys.
Later. All right, guys. It is time for us to move on, and we are going to talk some NXT. So hold your horses, and we'll be right back.
WWE Developmental NXT. Squash!
All right.
I just play that at the beginning of NXT now because that's pretty much what NXT is for the most part. It's Squash City. So, we apparently can go back to our regularly scheduled program because the lineup has changed after this, but we can talk about that. Anyway, so getting to NXT, we have the appearance of Chad Gable and Jason Jordan for the first time wrestling against Elias Sampson and Steve Cutler. I think Gable made quite an impression in the 3 minutes that this match lasted. That guy looks like Instastar already to me. He works well with Jason Jordan. I like the double team move. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys felt, but I really enjoyed that from the what it's supposed to be perspective.
I thought it was a good start. I don't know. I'm looking forward to, like, longer matches, but hey, not complaining with what I got. I think they have a pretty good shot ahead of them, but you know, I feel like it's also a little too early to tell for me. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
I'm right there with you. I'm liking what I've seen. It was a good showcase for Chad Gable, which is all I kind of really was for. So.
Yeah, totally. And I think I appreciate more the effort they put into finding Jason Jordan a tag partner, turning into an arc. It certainly has kept some of the tag team division very interesting.
Yeah, and, we finally get Gable with Jordan. It's a nice little mix-up there, and I like it so far. I'm interested to see how far they go with it, though.
I mean, they've got a lot of tag teams, like, bubbling around. You still have whatever Mojo and Zack Ryder are doing. You got this tag team. You got Enzo and Cass, who I'm sure will be involved in the tag titles pretty soon. I'm sure once whatever the Vaudevillains get their shot. So at least they're keeping everybody kind of in the mix. So that's appreciated. Axel Tischer against Samoa Joe. Joe gets all his stuff in, makes him tap out to the choke. Not much there, really. We also get Baron Corbin you should have done this video a long time ago, but it's better than never, I guess. We get him talking about football, him talking about boxing, him talking about jiu-jitsu. You get pictures and stuff of him doing this. People talking about it. I mean, him talking about how he wants to take down the indie darlings. He wants to be the indie killer. I mean, that's pretty awesome for NXT because that's what you're doing. You're killing all the people that people love. I like it. What do you guys think of Joe and the indie killer here?
I'm with you that they're finally giving Corbin. They should have done this a long time ago because Corbin's just kind of like in limbo after the whole Rhino feud. So that's good that they're finally doing something with him, giving him a bit of a character. And Joe, squash match, there you go.
Joe is a very strong man, and that's what I learned from that match. So, all right, cool. Looking forward to seeing kind of a shift in gears for Baron Corbin. I like the video I like the promo. I think if you basically just became red hot by beating up indie darlings, that's I'm already really looking forward to it. So I hope the execution is as good as the setup seems to be.
Yeah, because I was sort of ready to sail the boat on Baron Corbin because he was sort of doing a whole lot of nothing despite getting a whole lot of hype for it. So I'm looking forward to see where this goes. And yeah, Joe beats people up, which I knew, but it's always nice to see.
A nice reminder, right, Paul? Baron Corbin is a guy that I'm still not ready to hang my hat on. I'm really nervous about what they're going to do next with him. They've got to do a lot to get this guy going. I'm sorry. I mean, he's okay, but just, I don't know, just not enough for me yet.
Yeah, I really like where it looks like they're going with this, but we have to see what we're going to do after this because the tapings have happened, and now after this week, whatever they did at the tapings is what's going to be going on until we get to TakeOver. So, Eva Marie comes out and says she's going to wrestle next week. So, everybody should be looking forward to that, I guess.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
All red everything. Woo. That red nation.
Actually, you know what? I do generally feel bad for Eva Marie because no matter what, even if she becomes even like halfway decent, the crowd is always going to shit on her for the way that she was brought up. And they're never going to forget that.
Yeah, it's true. But you see, if you're a heel, you can just always channel that and just keep going.
She could be the Miz for the women.
Yep.
That's true.
Be Bautista.
Red Tista.
Yeah.
So, Angelo Dawkins and Sawyer Fulton, another nice tag team. Getting beat by the tag champions so they can look strong. And then, of course, Alexa Bliss has to add on her doing her sparkle splash at the end to add more insult to it. Yep, not much there.
Well, you said it.
Gosh, yeah.
Go TNA.
Yeah, so Sami Zayn comes out and he talks about how 2014 was an awesome year for him. He gets a huge Olay chant that seems like it lasts forever. His arm was not in the sling at Comic-Con. This is obviously pre-taped, so his arm was in the sling here. 2015 has been his worst year, and he's coming for that NXT title whenever he does return in 2016. And Kevin Owens' motivation, he's had his whole career linked with Kevin Owens, and that's going to continue when he comes back. There are rumors that are going around that Sami Zayn might be brought back in the Royal Rumble itself. You guys cool with that? And then you build to a Kevin Owens Ultimate match at WrestleMania?
Yeah, that's what I think should happen. That's Zayn returns to the Royal Rumble, and that's your U.S. title match for Mania. That'll be the best opening title match for Mania.
Yeah, I'd agree. It would also require Kevin Owens to kind of be cleaning house in the Rumble and to kind of have the cocky heel running the show moment, And then as soon as Sami Zayn's music hits, just, crap your pants kind of moment. That's how I envision it happening. Probably won't, since the WWE apparently books their Royal Rumbles in shifts nowadays. So you get half of a really good one and then half of a really bad one. But yeah, I mean,
that'll be in the good half.
Well, yes. I'm ready. I'm ready for more Sami Zayn, and it's really unfortunate what happened to him. But if him and Owens, get right back into it as soon as he's healthy again, and gosh, man, if they opened WrestleMania, what a treat. That'd be good.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Royal Rumble thing, especially if they're gonna channel Steve Austin running the show from '97, and then Bret Hart's music fist and hits, and Austin almost has like a freaking aneurysm in the ring when he sees him walk out the curtain.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So watching Kevin Owens try to have an aneurysm could be entertaining. I want them to finish it in NXT before we get whatever we're going to get from them on the main roster. I feel like whatever they're trying to tell us in NXT deserves an ending, and I want to see that before we get anything on the main roster.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I can kind of see where you're coming from on that. In the end, though, I mean, as long as it's going to be a part of WrestleMania, I'm ecstatic. I think that'd be something wonderful to add to the card. We really want that to be a giant card. It's got to be a giant card. They got to fill that stadium, right? So I think that'd be a perfect addition to it. And looking at the Royal Rumble landscape, yes, you guys were talking about the moment. I think the moment's great. I hope it does happen. If it does happen in shifts, I hope it happens in a good area. That way we get a little cool down time before the winner, which will be King Barrett, happens.
Oh, God. Seriously.
So, I'm pre-warning you before it happens.
Well, you certainly don't have to warn me at all to be aware of that. I just completely blew that segue.
Cue the botch.
I completely just blew that segue. Anyway,
send that one to Harry.
NXT Women's Championship, Sasha Banks, Charlotte. About 14 minutes of awesome. These two girls just never cease to amaze. What do you guys say? Sasha Banks retains, making Charlotte tap out.
I'm always a fan of a submission finish. I know it doesn't happen that often, but I do enjoy those because, especially if you're a champion, to get your opponent to tap out, it's a bit more satisfying of a win. So I kind of marked out a little bit for that. Secondly, and this is I kind of talked a little bit about it when we were talking about Raw. I think it's awesome when, arguably one of the best parts of any show is what the women put on. Just because, man, when two female wrestlers are just going they're just tearing things up. I mean, it looks so different. It feels so different than what we're used to that it catches your interest, and you're just like, yeah, this is awesome. This is different. I like this. So, Sasha retaining doesn't really bother me. It was a great match, and I get upset when I'm like, that was an awesome match, and I put it on Raw, and they put it on an okay match. Well, obviously not this week, but you know what I'm getting at. Love the match. I've got no problems with Sasha holding on to the belt. I still like Charlotte a lot, but I don't know. I really enjoyed NXT finishing on this.
How about those extensions coming out and Charlotte doing her daddy and hitting Sasha in the face with extensions? That was just awesome.
It's the little things that really enhance a match.
Yep. Chris?
Pretty much you guys said everything. This match is awesome. It's not too surprising considering it's Charlotte and Sasha, and these two have great chemistry with each other. And I'm glad they got a chance to main event NXT. It kind of felt like this is their farewell match. Even though I know they're working the tapings for these couple of weeks, but it felt like this was their farewell kind of, all right, we're off to the main roster kind of thing. It felt like this is their graduation of NXT in a sense. Especially when they end and they shake hands and it wraps up their NXT story, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. We've talked about both these girls wrestling each other endlessly on this podcast. We've loved it every time. There's no difference here. It's still wonderful. This might be the last time we talk about them wrestling each other on NXT, but this certainly won't be the last time we talk about them wrestling each other ever.
And Charlotte did a flare flop. I mean, how awesome is that?
Yeah. That is
Can
great.
I just ask, where was David Flair when Rick was teaching charisma to his kids? Because I've seen what little wrestling that Reed did. Reed was actually pretty good, and Charlotte's amazing. So, what happened with David Flair?
What are you talking about? I loved him. Dude, I'm just saying, my WrestleMania dream match was David Flair and Garrett Bischoff. Apparently, I'm the only one in that zone. But I kept dreaming.
I'll say this: David Flair does have the best WWE Titan ever. So
there you go. That's all you need, man.
Yeah. And definitely, if that match was to ever happen, I know it's a dream match, and I know a lot of people want to see it. I'm just excited to see that pre-show match. You know.
All right, Gary, you got anything to say?
No, just wonderful match. Loved it, and let's see him do better on the next time they're on Raw.
All right. Well, I'm guessing both of you guys are going to bid us adieu here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably hit the hay. I do want to ask you guys this because we didn't cover it. Thoughts on Stardust's return and him coming back as a Stardust character instead of coming back as Cody Rhodes, or?
I know me personally, I was a little disappointed, and then Cody sent out that tweet on his personal Twitter, not the Stardust one, and it kind of I got really quiet and I felt really dumb. Cody tweeted that he was a little concerned or a little weirded out by people that were upset that I didn't use like the worst moment of my life as like some kind of character moment on at my job or something. Basically saying, I know a lot of us were like, all right, Cody, come back as Cody Rhodes and this is your chance. And it's just like, no, I'm not going to use my father's death as some sort of plot point on wrestling. Even if it is one of the most carny kind of wrestling things to do, Paul Bearer, Cody just was not digging that. And when he tweeted that out, I felt really dumb.
Even what his wife tweeted out.
Yeah,
I kind of felt dumb for saying that in the previous weeks too. I was like, man, and to that fan that sits there, whoever, if you ever come seriously, because we had this problem sometimes with, in the indies. I'm sitting here watching these girls who, are not very attractive at all, demand that these wrestlers give them autographs and go with them somewhere and all this stuff or whatever. And this is on a very small level. So, imagining Cody Rhodes getting in the car with his wife after he's just got done working for the night or whatever it is that they're doing, and you demand a picture saying, we pay your bills, no one wants to take a picture with you after that. In fact, if I was Eden, I would have slapped you. Who says that to someone and then wants to take a picture with them afterwards? Really?
Douchebags. That's who.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is. And, I was on the same boat. I can't lie. I was really wanting to see a somber situation, but then again, a respectful situation where he's wiping off the Stardust paint, and just kind of saying, it's time for me to be a better Rhodes or something on that lines. But, after seeing his point of view, I totally agree with him now, and his wife. I feel bad for them. So, who's to say? But I totally get it now.
I agree with them, but my only thing is, the only reason why I wanted to see Cody Rhodes back is because they just don't know what to do with Stardust. That's my thing. It's not that I want him to use the tragedy of Dusty's passing. It's just that the Stardust character has just been all over the place,
Yeah, it's true. And, I guess all we have to look forward to is Green Arrow and Stardust, So
I'm on board.
That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
I don't care how crappy it is. I'm on board. I don't care. It just sounds awesome.
I have no opinion. I can't feel anything.
Yeah. Fair
Can't
enough.
feel anything for that?
Par for the course, Jay.
Yeah.
Feeling very draws right now. I get it.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Oh,
Ouch,
that's
Gary.
low.
Jeez.
That's low, Sean.
Why are you blaming me? You're the one that took the shot. Like, come on.
No, just got to put it off on somebody else. But anyway, well, man, this has been a blast. I just want to thank Jacob San Antonio and Chris Lemchi for both joining us, and it's been awesome having you on for the first time. Hopefully, it's not the last time, Jacob.
Oh yeah, it comes down to what my work schedule is, and if you guys are doing stuff, I don't know. Well, I could talk to Sean about it, but I will try to be on more often.
All right, man. Well, that's great. This has been fun. It's been a lot of just reminiscing now since, we don't get a chance to sit in the same living room anymore as much as we used to and watch pay-per-views and things like that. But you guys are always welcome on our pay-per-view reviews if you guys watch the shows and everything. And, Chris, we'll probably be talking to you sooner. So.
Yeah. It's always having a good time always talking to you guys about wrestling.
All right, man. Well, you both have a great night, and we'll be talking to you all later.
All right, you too. Have a good one.
Too.
Take it easy, guys.
Later.
All right, guys. Well, we were planning on maybe having them on a lot longer, but the show has gone way longer than we ever expected, just because we've been having a blast. So, Sean, how do you think do you think we'd be okay doing G1 and just saving TNA a little longer?
Well, I already have it in the description with TNA right now.
Oh, we can do TNA right now then? That's fine. I don't know. Throw an audible in there. So let's go ahead and do TNA then. Yeah.
That way I can get a rest for the rest. Well, no, I still got to do Lucha, but whatever. I can get a rest for a little bit.
That's okay. All right. Let's do it.
Crap.
You picked the wrong music.
Yeah, hold on.
TNA Impact Wrestling.
I'm trying to avoid having to hear that crappy song again.
I am going to miss that music when September comes.
Don't lie to yourself, Gary.
Yeah, it'll be more like the Green Day song, Gary. You'll be going, when September ends. We got your favorite band on the show somehow.
Yeah, I know. Say thank you.
So, TNA, whenever I can find it in my list of notes here, somehow it, how did this show start again? I forgot.
It was a thing.
Mm-hmm. This one thing happened. Dixie Carter,
Yeah, Dixie Carter. Okay, so Dixie Carter basically comes out and says, "I'm sorry." Really, she almost gets to tears, heartfelt kind of stuff. Bully Ray is announced as the general manager of TNA, or the new law in TNA, whatever. And Bully Ray also says, "I'm sorry," that he tried to ruin the company with Aces and Eights. And my God, it's just a freaking just cry fest over here on TNA. EC3 comes out to try to save the segment. And basically, Bully tells him, "Oh, well, you're going to defend the title tonight against whoever wins the 20-man Battle Royal." This is where you start seeing the problems with Hernandez, because he was in this match. And they had to continue to keep cutting it and cutting it and cutting it. So that there's no way you could see Hernandez. It was terrible. Drew Galloway won, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah. Drew Galloway, totally down for that. This Battle Royal sucked, but I'm down for Drew Galloway winning. Here's the thing. So, Dixie Carter damn near dies due to Bully Ray putting her through a table. Promotes Bully Ray to putting in charge of the company. This seems like great career advice, TNA, and I appreciate that. Assault boss, get promoted. You got it.
Especially female boss.
Yeah.
Great empowerment for women there. Dixie Carter.
Yeah, it's kind of like, the movie Ted, where he insults his boss, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, you get a promotion. Yeah, great." This whole thing just made me depressed because it was almost like they were opening up what they actually feel backstage. It's like all doom and gloom. Come on. If you want your company to keep going, moving forward, let's not have depressing... okay, yeah, you want Bully Ray to come out, do his thing, that's fine, but don't do a State of the Union.
Yeah, because it's bleak.
Yeah, it is bleak, and then it's also just, how many people that are watching this really care?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of people that are watching this that have never watched all this time of TNA where this was actually a thing. We have, and that's why I was kind of like, oh, I kind of feel for them or whatever. But it's just, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the Bully Ray I'm sorry crap. It was just like so out of character for the guy. Just no.
Yeah, I know. Ugh.
So not to mention they keep giving away the fact that Eli Drake is just going to do something at the end of the show. Just let's keep doing all the tropes that usually involve partners going to attack me later on. All the tropes right here. So Anderson in the head with that mic, which looked nasty, and he has you can see where they had to sew him up on the side of his head there. You know, he admits that Bram did a number on him, and you know he questioned himself that maybe he doesn't have too long, which I'm sure Paul was sitting there in glee about, and you know, whatever, that he put over Bram as being this guy that beat the crap out of him. So thought that was well done. We have this X Division title match between Tigre Uno, Spud, Grado, and DJZ that felt like, let's just throw the 4 guys that we know will get attention from people, and then proceed to have a crappy match that seemed to go really nowhere. The finish was just completely crapped on, and yeah, I mean, come on, Tigre Uno, you Phoenix splashed his feet. I mean, really?
That's where Grotto keeps his power.
Yeah.
Alright.
So I fast forwarded through the Anderson sit-down interview, so that's on you guys to cover.
Yeah.
The X Division 4-way was extremely rushed, and I'm assuming that's why they kept goofing everything. Because this was not pretty by any means, and it's no reason. There's a lot of guys in this to like. There's a lot of reasons to like them. None of them were on display in this match, and that bodes ill for all of them.
Exactly. A lot of talent with no time to showcase it, and it was rushed and blah, just like that.
Yeah, and they even had this nice little graphic for them and everything before the match, and you thought, oh, we're going to turn a new leaf with the X Division. Nope. Just 4 minutes of them, people trying to shoulder block Grado's belly for like 2 minutes of it, and then, yeah, just, okay. Knockouts title match wasn't any better. They botched the finish here too because Terrell's head went down before Brooke could grab her head. Gail Kim came back to do ninja moves because she's Asian. And, you know, TNA, once again, you are not doing anything better than anybody else. Still stereotyping people. The crowd didn't care for parts of it because they were chanting for Marty. And, yeah, just, okay, Brooke looked fine in this, but this seemed like totally out of the blue. Brooke beating Taryn. All right.
This was just bad. This was really, really, really bad. I question the booking decision because it makes no sense to switch the title to Brooke. I question why you would want to take the title off of your hottest act in the Knockouts division. And I also question why you want to make Gail Kim a ninja when she has every reason in the world to be pissed off and doesn't need an extra stereotypical thing to her. I mean, if you want her to just sneak up on her, then just sneak up on her. Come through the crowd and beat him up. That's fine. It's not going to take anything away from the character.
I half expected her to do a Tenchu move and have a dagger right underneath Taryn's throat or something. Just
that would have been kind of cool. All right.
Yeah.
And just to answer a couple of those questions that Paul had, one of them is Taryn Terrell's jumping off the ship, so that why not, take that loss. And secondly, I'm sure Gail Kim must have watched Kung Fu Panda, so she felt, excited. So
I don't know if that made it any better or worse, Sir Gary.
Yeah,
I feel like it got more racist after that.
I thought it kind of helped. I mean, Kung Fu Panda is a fun kids movie. Kids do karate chops. Anyway,
I don't think there's ninjas in that movie, though.
It's because the panda is the ninja.
Yeah.
What? Mind blown.
I know. Anyway, yeah, you're right. This makes no sense, just like my conversation.
I think everybody else's mind is blown sitting this for us talking about TNA. Yeah, you know what? And I literally, when I said ninja, literally Gail Kim wraps her body around the pole and kicks one of the dollhouse. I mean, it was just literally out of a kung fu movie. It was just bad. And you know, I know there are a lot of people that apparently are not fans of the dollhouse at all. There's a lot of people that apparently do not see like you, Paul, and love the dollhouse. And I'm sure they were probably happy to not have to deal with it that much longer, but probably just means we're going to get more screaming Terran, so I don't know that that's any better or worse. But I don't know. I don't know how this... I mean, I can kind of see how this goes into, okay, well, Gail Kim kind of sort of cost Terran the belt, and that's what she wanted to do. And the point was, you know, to get it on anybody but Terran. So I guess the story was sort of told, but other than that, it's just... Earl Hebner got to carry Brooke around, so good on him. And, you know, that didn't look awkward or anything.
Hey, it's probably part of his contract, you know.
Yeah. So we get a Kurt Angle and Eric Young segment because we all wanted that.
Woo!
And apparently Kurt Angle's going to be gone for a little bit or something. I don't know what we got out of this, but
yep.
Chris Melendez came down and tried to save him, but then we still got a pile driver on the floor. So
came down to the sound of nobody caring.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then, not to mention nobody caring, having to watch a clipped version of the Slammiversary match between James Storm and Magnus. That was certainly just crickets happening.
Yep.
Oh man, just think about how much you could have fast forwarded through right now. Just think about that, and you probably would have been okay.
And there was a lot. I mean, seriously, I was happy. There was parts of TNA I could just fast forward. But anyway, we have this TNA World Title match between Drew Galloway and EC3. They took out the main event introductions. There was a lot of Tyrus trying to get involved, so Eli Drake was there, hopping around on crutches. He kind of just made it a big deal that he was there, so Tyrus couldn't get involved, even though Tyrus still got involved at times when the ref wasn't looking, saving EC3 from getting pinned, putting his leg on the rope, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, Drake shows that he was faking the whole time. Oh my God. We all didn't see that one coming. Whacks, even though it was such a delayed thing, because, for one, why would Tyrus be scared of this guy with a crutch? Like, Tyrus is much bigger than this guy. It looks so stupid. It seemed like they were waiting forever for Drew Galloway to get in the right spot so that Drake could hit him with the stupid crutch. EC3 hits the 1%er, and that's it. I mean, just there was so much crap in this match. I didn't know what to take seriously and what not, but
Not much. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Gary.
Oh,
my disappointment is palpable right now.
I'm sure you and your friend EC3 did not feel great about this match.
I didn't feel great about anything in this because EC3 and Drew Galloway should main event a pay-per-view, not be a throwaway thing that you're using to progress an angle or a new feud that nobody's going to care about. Because I don't know who in their right mind cares about Drake, and Drew Galloway does have something for him, at least being with the leader of the Rising, even though that's gone the way of the dinosaurs. He still has some interest around him, and now you've killed that, I'd say, because yeah, everything else was just... This is the perfect ending to a perfectly crappy Impact episode. Just bad all the way around.
Yeah. I mean, you would think this main event, would be something you'd be excited about watching, or at least be something decent. And you get this, and you're thinking, man, I just could have watched this all in fast forward. And he probably got as much out of it as I got watching it in real time. Just not thrilled with it, man. It's just like you've already pointed out, very disappointing. I don't know what else you could say about it. I have no other words.
Yeah, it's just bad. And once again, your champion can't ever win clean.
Of course. Heel champions can't win clean in TNA. This episode was a roller coaster of bad.
Yeah. It's probably, just going this rating, it was, was there anything good about this show?
It's not even worthy of the Bret Hart special. This is like a 2 or a 3.
Yeah. And if you want to say anything good about the show, we got news that Angle's going to take a break. I mean, that's good for a while, Not for the reason he is, but it is good that, he's not being shoved down our throat. Yeah. Yeah. I guess, needless to say, that's enough TNA. We have better stuff to talk about. But we did cover it, so sorry, TNA fans. I know you probably wanted us to say good things, and I want to, but there
was nothing good about it. I mean, what is there to say about TNA at this point? It's like, it was a bad show. We must have been asleep last week. Last week's was a bad show, too. Just not as bad as this one.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
yeah, exactly. So, anyway, we were going to move on, and we are going to talk some G1. That's right, everybody. That is New Japan's big tournament. We want to kind of break it down a little bit and kind of give you some of our thoughts. So we're going to be right back with that.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Alright, Paul.
Alright, Joe, so just for clarification purposes, we're previewing Night 1, correct?
We are just going through and talking about, what points we have for the wrestlers.
Okay.
And then basically talking about some of the matches we're really looking forward to. Whatever. We can preview Night 1, yeah, if you want to.
Well, I mean, because they're changing the way they're doing G1 now because of how giant a tournament is now, and them having it take a month. So specific nights are dedicated to specific blocks. So Night 1, that's coming up here on the 20th, this Sunday, is going to be A block, which has in A block is AJ Styles, Bad Luck Fale, Doc Gallows, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Hiroyoshi Tenzin, Katsuya Shibata, Kota Ibushi, Tetsuya Naito, Togi Makabe, Toru Yano. There's at least 2 to 3 people you will always care about in a block, sometimes more. I feel like B block is much stronger, personally. I also feel like there's not a bad match pairing in B block, whereas in A you get some kind of meh stuff. That's me, personally.
I agree with you. I mean, who's excited about Tenzin and Doc Gallows?
Or Fale and Gallows.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this Sunday show's main evented by Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi, though, which should be a treat, a delicacy, if you will, something that should be taken slowly and enjoyed, and other sensual food references that I could make, but I'm too tired to do right now.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty awesome. Kota Ibushi's going to be really interesting because New Japan's been on record telling him many times that they really wish he would cut out the DDT stuff, and he doesn't because he loves DDT. And so you have to wonder if they're really going to push him as hard as they would if he wasn't doing it and he listened to him. I would think this might be a great way to deliver a shock, have Ibushi win, and kind of send a message, hey, you've got 3 days where there's no G1 after this. So to kind of have people talking for a little bit, you got to have either Shibata beat AJ or you got to have Kota beat Tanahashi to have something special to talk about for a little bit.
You could go that way, and I would think you would have Shibata upset AJ over Tanahashi, because I have Tanahashi going undefeated all the way to the finals until he runs into a Bomaye from Shinsuke Nakamura, and that's what wins knock the G1. Just because I feel like that's a fun story to have, like Tanahashi go on this tear, and then suddenly Nakamura just knocks him off, Another interesting thing I have predicted, I have Goto beating both Okada and Nakamura, but not winning anything in the G1. So, mostly because I like him, but it also plays into, one, him having a win over both the current IWGP champion and somebody who I assume will be the IWGP champion, and keeps him on that road to still saying, hey, I have wins over these guys, and I totally belong in the talk to combine these championships, because that is his story going on right now.
I don't know. I went with having Okada and Nakamura be undefeated until they face each other on that final day, and Nakamura beats Okada. And that's him. He gets the... And I had Tanahashi losing to Bushi. I had Kota Ibushi beating both AJ and Tanahashi, but somehow AJ, he beats Tanahashi and he winds up with 2 more points than him, and it's AJ and Nakamura in the final, and then Nakamura wins.
I don't have...
How many points do you have Elgin getting?
1 second. I don't have Kota doing anything overly impressive in this tournament. He gets the wins he should get, and that's about it. I think I have Elgin getting a fair few points. I think I have him like at 8.
That's what I have him at, is 8.
And I think I toyed with giving him the idea of I think the biggest win I gave him was over Yuji Nagata. But I think that's as far as I went, as far as like, this is what he'll do,
Right, yeah. Yeah, because it's like, when he has to face like someone, the older guard, like you said, Nagata or Kojima or something, he could beat them,
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have Elgin with 12, actually.
That'd be pretty impressive for...
Yeah.
So what do you got your boy Naito doing, Gary? Because that's what I want to know.
I have not had a chance to do the spreadsheet yet. You both did, and I have not done my spreadsheet yet. But I'm going to give that guy a pretty good amount of momentum. I don't think he'd win this, though. That's the one thing that you may be surprised at. I think he'll at least get through 2 rounds, maybe. But I just don't imagine him winning it.
I have Naito with 12 in a 3-way tie with Ibushi and Shibata.
I have him severely undercut. I gave Naito 8 simply to play into his heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine some of these matches will just end up with him getting so frustrated that he can't win that he just stops caring and then suddenly loses, or something like that.
That's where I was going to, honestly, and that's my first thought process, because the way he was so nonchalant at the last big show at Dominion, I just think he's going to look at this tournament as like, I'm here, why did I do so good? Who cares? I agree. That nonchalant attitude has me very low-key on him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they set this up really nicely for Hama to get his win at the end because he places Yujiro on the last day? Does he get it?
I gave him Yujiro. I also gave him another match, too, because I have him with 4 points.
I had him with 3. I had him drawing with somebody. I forgot who it is. I think I might have had him drawing with Ishii or something.
I gave him his win back against Ishii on the 12th.
I can see that happening, yeah. I just would think that they would want to save his big win for like the last one so that everybody's still hoping he gets it, and then he gets it there at the end and it's this big thing.
I mean, that certainly is a thing that could happen. Him and Ishii had such a wonderful match, and Ishii doesn't have to worry about carrying a championship now. Because that made like booking someone like Makabe, who has the never openweight title, where I don't imagine you want to look incredibly weak, or somebody like Hiroshi Tenzin, who has the NWA championship still. I don't imagine you want to make him look incredibly weak. Even though I only gave Tenzin 2 wins, but that had more to do with
That's
personal.
how many wins I gave him too.
That had more to do with personal reasons than maybe what will actually happen.
How much did you give Yano?
Yano is goose egg on mine.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't give him anything.
I thought he'd beat some of the Bullet Club guys.
I'm sure he'll get wins. I mean, people like Yano. New Japan likes Yano. I feel like after the feud with Tanahashi, where you've seen them just out blatantly cheat each other, that everybody in G1 is going to be ready for that. And that's probably me thinking very highly of booking that way, but that's a thing that I could see happening, where he goes to cheat every time, and then they have something ready because they've seen him do it all now, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. It's possible that really does happen. I just figured that they would kind of do some shock wins for him or whatever. He always gets that one every G1 where he gets that one shock win. Like the one against Suzuki or whatever the year before. So,
right.
Which, with the whole contrast of styles and everything, which is great. So, you said you had Goto beating both Okada and Nakamura. So you have basically, do you have the same idea that I do, where Okada and Nak are going to have the same amount of points, and when they face each other, it's going to be that deciding? Or
Exactly. Yeah. They're going into August 15th tied at 14, and Shinsuke beats Okada.
All right.
That's interesting. I think it'd be great. Okada's got that momentum going for him, and I think that'd be good business.
Yeah, I'm really. What'd you guys do with Carl Anderson? Because he's a wild.
Like 8 points.
I gave him 12, and I have him getting a win over Goto. And that's probably me dreaming, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would do that, me personally, but I mean, that is interesting.
So who do you have, like, okay, outside of the big four, who's going to be your, like, dark horse for...
Let's see, going by my sheet, I have Carl Anderson at 12, I have Elgin at 12, I was originally going to pick him, having Shibata do well, and I knocked off a few because of his injury. Because I don't think they're going to put all that on him with his arm being the way it is. So I only have Shibata ending with 12. I have, like, my B block is so much more closer than my A block.
Yeah, that's the way I forgot about Shibata's injury. I should have probably accounted for that. I had it close just because, like, I had Naito getting his win back on Ibushi and a couple other ones, but I had, like, the main trio being closer than the rest of them. But I'm probably completely wrong on that. Because I have, like, Gallows getting, like, 1 point just because I don't want to see him win anything.
I got Gallows getting 4. Like, I have no draws, so...
There always seems to be at least that one.
I'm sure there will be a few, especially with how long the tournament's going. But when you do a pick'em like this, where we're picking every match in the bracket, we're doing this for Voice of Wrestling, by the way, if you're listening. This is... I felt stronger picking actual winners than just trying to guess a draw randomly, you know?
Oh yeah, that's rough. It's when I do the soccer ones, it's like trying to tell me that somebody's gonna draw in the group stage match or whatever. It's like, okay, maybe. How long do you have the final match going for the tiebreaker?
35 minutes and 23 seconds.
I had 29 and 25 seconds. So.
Yeah, traditionally in the last couple of years, the final matches have not been short. They're these, like, epic slugfests that have these, like, rising crescendos throughout them until you get to the finish. And I imagine with Tanahashi and Nakamura, even though we've been there and seen a lot of that, as far as I have it coming down to, I don't see anything that anybody does in the final being short, especially shorter than 30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed on that. Well, Gary, it'll be interesting to see if you have your stuff done by Sunday. What you think is going to happen?
Yeah,
That'll be your mission, your homework, Gary. You got.
All right. Yes, I'll have it done, and we can definitely talk about it Sunday. Because we'll definitely talk about Battleground.
Like I already mentioned on here, pretty much as soon as our Battleground review is over, or whichever way you look at it, whether you're listening to us live or after Battleground's over, about 3 hours afterwards, the G1 begins live. First day, they don't have another show again until the 23rd, and then after that, it's pretty much daily.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna try to keep up with it. Either I think I'm gonna try to do the podcast route, because I know what happened with me trying to do the review route didn't really work. Because trying to take notes and trying to watch it and really try to watch it is difficult. So.
Mm-hmm.
I might just do the podcast route. That way I can just watch everything and enjoy it. Because there will be plenty of enjoying going on.
Well, there you go.
Plenty of matches to be excited about, to be just... that are going to be awesome.
Yeah, there is a match worth your attention, whether it's the main event or not, every night. Sometimes it's one. And the undercard will be with tag teams, too, with the juniors... those mixed ones that they do with juniors and heavyweights, and it's the guys who are not in the block for the evening doing the rest of the work on the other card too. So, just because Shinsuke isn't wrestling in a G1 match or something like that, if you're a big fan of his, it doesn't mean he won't be on the show or anything like that.
Yeah, and I mean they have some interesting pairings with those too. So those are worth watching if you ever wanted to watch the couple of people team together you never thought they would.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So be looking forward to that, everybody. We are going to be definitely covering more of the G1. Sean will be doing those shows, and I'm sure we'll be doing more talking about the G1.
We'll be doing like little wrap up. When it's our turn to do a show, if it falls on that, it'll we can talk about some of the best matches we've seen or something like that. Yeah.
So we'll keep you updated. All right, guys. Well, we are going to move on in the show. We still have a couple of reviews that we need to do, so we are going to move on to Lucha Underground. And, of course, there's a few medallions earned in this one, so we'll be talking about that. And that is right after this.
Hold on. Alright, Lucha Underground. This week, now I'm totally confused. Okay. So, we start with Dario Cueto backstage in his office, looking at his medallions as Pentagon Jr. is in front of him. He's going to give three of them away, and he asked Pentagon if he wants to compete for one of them tonight, and he's like, look, I don't want any of your medallions. They don't mean anything to me. I just want to face Vampiro at Ultima Lucha. And he's like, man, I'll just give you one even. And he again tells them he doesn't care about them. And Dario actually just wants to meet his master, because he's always the curious one. He wants to make sure that he's always the one in power. And Pentagon just says, well, he'll reveal himself when he's ready to do it. Short, sweet, and to the point, I thought. And Pentagon looked awesome.
I agree. I gotta say, if you're not reading Larry's 411 reviews over at 411mania.com about Lucha Underground, the way he writes for Pentagon Jr. segments is wonderful. But just Pentagon Jr. is this no nonsense badass in general, but when Larry writes about him, he also gives no fucks ever, and it's wonderful.
Oh man, I've got to read them. I definitely do.
You do, man. They're great.
I'm a big Pentagon Jr. fan. Everybody knows that. And this is cool. I love this. This is very tough, very rugged. So, good stuff.
Yes. So, we start out with everybody's Well, we start out with everybody's favorite Delavar Davari against Bengala, or Mr. Ricky Marvin. It was about 3 minutes, probably about as short as it should be considering Davari's in there. Bengala got to do some stuff. He wins. And yeah, Bengala is one of your 7 medallions. What'd you think?
I think this was a fine match. I don't think Davari does a whole lot to make Bengala look great, but I think Bengala does a lot for himself to make himself look great. Sadly, the match we get out of that effort is only sort of meh.
Right.
Yeah, and honestly, I felt like Davari was going to be the guy to get the medallion. I was a little bit surprised. But in the end, I mean, it's okay. But yeah, Paul's got it right. It wasn't the best match.
Yeah, Bengala will be competing in the middle of the G1 in that Noah's version of the Best of Super Juniors, by the way, if you want to go try to watch him do that. Vampiro is in the ring talking about how it's been a long time since he wrestled. He's been there and done that. He's kind of done with it. You know, he's happy with his job at Lucha Underground, just being an announcer. And Pentagon is sitting there just pretty much he even says that Pentagon kind of reminds him of a younger Vampiro, which I actually kind of thought of sometimes when I watch Pentagon. And not the badassness, but the like just being hardcore and wanting to do crazy things. And Pentagon basically gets in his face and mocks him and, you know, tries to get him to do everything. And finally Vampiro acquiesces. Saying that Ian Hodgkinson will not be the guy to face Pentagon. It's going to be Vampiro. And then Pentagon gets chokeslammed right in the middle of the ring as the crowd's going nuts. We also see Sexy Star finding Superfly's mask in her purse and then just kind of leaving it there. What do you guys think of this little in-ring segment here of Vampiro and Pentagon?
I sort of dig the feud with Vampiro. The crowd makes it feel much more important than probably what it is, but it still works because it makes Pentagon look like $1 million going after this guy with the way the crowd reacts to Vampiro. So, totally digging it.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? I mean, no matter what you say, Pentagon Jr. is still looking strong, even though he was the guy on his back at the end of this. I think that it's a great way to get everybody excited to see Vampiro. So, I mean, all thumbs up for me on this.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta make Vampiro look strong. He's not been wrestling. You gotta do something to make him look like a threat. So it's totally fine here. So we have King Cuerno against Killshot. I thought this was actually pretty decent. Cuerno tries to go for the throw of the hunt. He misses. He ties up Killshot's legs. And then he does a submission. And King Cuerno wins. As he probably should. He's been there much longer.
I agree. And somebody who I think deserves more of a spotlight especially for somebody who was spotlighted so early on in so many big scenarios, and has sort of like almost disappeared with the influx of new talent coming in.
Yeah, it's a little bit easy in this show to get a little bit pushed to the background because they know it's a short show. It's not a 3-hour show, so you don't get the opportunities to always be on. And you know, Cuerno has definitely not been the highlight all the time. So this is a great way to showcase that, hey, he still matters and he's still as strong as ever. I enjoyed it. It was a great match.
Agreed. So, after this, which I'm losing my so, pretty much we get the Superfly Sexy Star rematch that ends in about 30 seconds. Sexy Star does the tilt-a-whirl, like, move we used to see the original Sin Cara do, but she turns it into the armbar. Then Marty the Moth comes in, and he challenges her for the medallion, pretty much almost forcing her for the challenge. And the match goes about 2 minutes, and Marty even gets a figure 4 in there. But we get another, tilt-a-whirl armbar thing, and again, Sexy Star wins. So she's one of the Aztec Medallion winners, again, as she should, since it's been up and down with her, but kind of like what Paul said before, she's been one of the ones that's been spotlighted throughout the season, so she kind of deserves it. And then after this, we get our stare down with, we get a rundown of the card, and we also get a stare down here with Mil Muertes and Puma, even though Katrina comes out when she's not supposed to, and so does Conan. And the Disciples beat down Conan and all this stuff, and then they roll Conan into the coffin and shut it. So, yeah, and Katrina also hits him with the stone or whatever in the head.
Yeah, Puma's sort of made to watch by somebody. I think he gets beat up first or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Right, yeah.
I dug the end segment. Sexy Star, her booking has been insanely inconsistent, and this felt like one of those weeks where, like, yeah, let's book her strong. And they did that, so there's some good stuff to take away. I'm with you, she does deserve the medallion. I really wish I cared and was invested so much more in her progression than I am,
Right.
Yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from, too, just because of that reason. It's been up and down for her, and you do care to an extent, but on the other hand, it's like, where really does she fit in amongst this group, and I don't know. I'm glad for her, it's cool that she got a medallion, she does deserve it, but on the other hand, I just don't know if I care about her as much as I do some of these other things going on, some of these other wrestlers.
Yeah, it was made to feel more important than last week because of the medallion stuff, but still kind of another so week here of Lucha Underground.
Yeah, and then is Conan supposedly, gone, or I'm just trying to figure this out. He probably won't be there for Ultima Lucha now, but I'm just trying to think of how that's going to work out with Conan. He's not dead, right, in the storyline?
I don't think so, but with Lucha Underground, you never really know. Because we don't know what that rock is. It's got some power to it, but we don't know if it can murder you in one stroke or what.
See?
Yeah, exactly.
It's intriguing, and it also makes you wanting more. Hopefully, after Ultimate Lucha, we'll definitely want more. I'm, excited about seeing that show. So, all right. Well, that was Lucha Underground. Now we just need to talk about some Ring of Honor. There's been a few things here, and of course, you get Jay Lethal defending a title. We'll talk about that after this.
Take it away, Paul.
Right on. So we open ROH this week with Matt Sydal taking on Adam Page, which pretty much turns into build for Adam Page and ACH, I believe, which is going to take place at the Death Before Dishonor coming up on iPay-per-view. Page has Whitmer and Carino at ringside with him. They end up getting involved, and they end up making ACH watch as Page sort of beats down on Matt Sydal after the match. Which Sydal won with a shooting star press. This isn't anything overly terrific, but there is solid build in this, and I think that's what's more important than having a great match here.
Yeah, it wasn't the best, but then again, it was entertaining. And of course you got the Carino involvement here and his son and all that entails in that. And in the end, it really doesn't matter about the match as much as it does. You keep getting intrigued with the story, and I'm waiting for Carino to be more involved. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. there was some good action here. I still love Page's shooting star shoulder block. It's still pretty awesome that he can do that out to the outside. And Sydal does some good stuff here too. He wins, and then it starts the whole stuff post match. So
yeah, all good stuff. Overall, the wrestling, nothing to write home about, but the build is great. And speaking of build, the commentary team launches into hyping Death Before Dishonor, which is a big show for them. It used to be one of their flagship shows before we got into our pay-per-view schedule that we have for them now. And to continue the build to that, Veda Scott comes out, runs down Moose, says Cedric Alexander put a wrench in his plan, pun intended, which got me to chuckle, even though I felt bad for chuckling at that because I was blatant, but whatever. And pretty much Cedric Alexander's going to beat up Moose, so says Veda Scott. And we all sit there and go, okay, Veda, you keep dreaming.
Yep.
Needless to say, she still cuts a pretty decent promo. So it was okay.
She's a warrior. She should.
Yeah.
Certainly one of her better efforts. Sometimes they come off sort of almost too scripted, it feels like at times. But this was certainly one of her better efforts, in my opinion. Excuse me. Next up, Silas Young takes on Will Ferrara. Goes about 5 or 6 minutes. Ferrara ends up getting the upset here due to Dalton Castle and his boys. And and then we get some post-match shenanigans with Young and Dalton Castle and his boys and all that stuff.
Yep. Boys freaking eat some DDT and TKOs. not a good day for them.
It is still fun to me. I love this feud. I don't know why. I'm a big Dalton Castle fan, though. I love that guy. And of course, Silas Young, the big tough, gruff guy, the guy that, he only uses WD-40 and duct tape, big tough guy. I think that's fun. The dynamic's a blast, and this is interesting. So I was in favor of it.
The finish felt too WWE to me, but I mean it works for what they have going on. So main event, ROH television title match, Jay Lethal defends him against Mark Briscoe. This wasn't a terrific effort on either man's part, and mostly because I feel like there was almost too much interference at times. When I really want Lethal to be just the straight up fighting champion who happens to be a heel and happens to have the whole posse at ringside with him, and but Lethal does retain, which is cool and totally the right way to go. But interference totally kills this match for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just way too much of it, way too often. Once Jay Briscoe comes out and cleans house and stuff, it's just kind of like, all right. This is certainly not about the match. Then OEB gets involved too, and it was really here so you could make the 8-person tag for next week, the 200th episode or whatever, which is fine. But just, please don't have Roddy on commentary. He was just as bad as John Cena on Raw. Just so
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and ODB was a fun addition to this. It was interesting, especially the promo at the end there. But you know what? I mean, I kind of agree with Paul on this. I just want Lethal, more clean matches, not all the interference and all that. I just think that would do him a lot more favors than him just doing this whole, I'm an evil heel and I'm using all the outside interference I can get. So, who's to know? Maybe they will change their mind on that, but right now I'm like,
Right.
So.
That's your Ring of Honor for the week.
There you go, guys. Well, man, that pretty much wraps us up for shows, but now we have one last task to accomplish, and that is to crown a Superstar of the Week, and we are going to be right back with that.
Superstar of the Week.
All right, Paul, who do you got this week?
It's a packed list on this week's Superstar of the Week for me, but at number 5 I got Stardust. I really enjoyed that promo that he did. Solid work against Neville too. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what he does with Stephen Amell. I'm so intrigued by that, mostly because I'm a big Arrow fan, but it's also because I have a lot of love for Stardust. Number 4 is a 3-way tie between Rusev, Cesaro, and Kevin Owens for that triple threat match that they had. It was wonderful. 3 I gave to Brock Lesnar. I think he did solid work. He always makes everything he does feel special. You could attribute that to limited dates, or you could attribute that to just the aura that WWE has built around him. But I certainly think he is well deserving of everything. Number 2 goes to Charlotte, and number 1 goes to Sasha Banks. Not only did they have a great match on NXT, their main roster debut was must-see television this week.
Number 5, Stardust. Number 4, Sexy Star, King Cuerno, and Bengala for getting the medallions. Number 3, Jay Lethal for defending his ROH title. I guess EC3 needed to be in there somewhere, but yeah, I guess I'll put him at number 2. And number 1, Sasha and Charlotte for that terrific match on NXT. They had a great debut on Raw. Good stuff.
Yeah, my number 5 has to go to Sexy Star and Bengala, both winning medallions. Congratulations to them. 4 for me has to go to Rusev. You know, he won that triple threat to face off against John Cena, and he did a pretty decent job, even though you could tell he was tired. Number 3 has to go to Jay Lethal, defending his title, and of course, you know, making it, you know, where he at least got to keep it. Number 2 has to go to Brooke. She, no matter how bad the show was, hey, at least she is a champion. She is now the Knockouts champion. So there you go. And number 1 has to go to all the up-and-coming NXT divas to the main roster. I'm talking Charlotte and Sasha Banks. And, of course, I'm not going to leave out Becky Lynch. Congratulations to her as well. So, good stuff all the way around. And it looks like, really, if you look at it through the eyes, it is Sasha and Charlotte who really get the nod here. So, they are co-superstars of the week. There you go, guys. So, really, honestly, you know, big divas week. So, well, man, we've had a great show. We've really had a blast because we had a couple really close friends, Chris Lemchi and Jacob San Antonio, on the show. Thank you to them for coming and being a part of the show, as well as we love having Brandon Bisco being, and of course, I'm already blank. I'm sorry, Smith.
Glenn Smith.
Glenn Smith. Thank you. That's late. Sorry, Glenn.
I'm with you.
It's just late. But Glenn Smith, glad to have him, and we'll probably be hearing from those guys probably this upcoming weekend. And don't forget, we are going to be doing a Battleground review Sunday night after the pay-per-view. We'll be covering it. We'll be talking about it. So if you want to call in and talk to us about it, if you want to chat with us, hey, we're going to be doing it. We're excited about it. Come and join the fun. Besides that, next Thursday, come check us out. We'll be talking about some other things, including the G1. We'll be continuing our discussion over that. And, of course, some other great things. And I'm sure we'll have some more talk about Undertaker, Sting, and some other great things. So don't forget about that show as well. Sean, give us some more plugs.
Yeah, so we're doing our you'll be able to hear our football to football in the morning on demand, along with this show, on all the podcast places that we exist. I forgot to do this when I was supposed to, but we had so many people on the show that I didn't do it in the after quick hits like I was supposed to start normally doing it. But yeah, you can check that out. We'll be previewing the AFC South. We had a mix-up with Fonte, had stuff he had to do. We tried 2 different times. Him and Jacob were supposed to be representing the Colts and the Texans to talk about that, but just could never get Fonte to actually be there at the same time. And my other Colts friends are a lot harder to get a hold of, so it's going to just be the 3 of us breaking that down. Next week, we'll have everybody from every team for the AFC East, and it'll be a lot funner and just crazy stuff going on for that. So next week we'll get back to our goal of having fans get to break down the teams, and then us kind of getting to talk through it. Randy will also break down the ACC Coastal Conference or Division or whatever it is, and we'll be talking about all the players that got their franchise tags signed and everything, including one Des Bryant that affects, and one Demaryius Thomas that affects all 3 of us here. Somehow they got the same exact deal, but, whatever.
No collusion.
Yeah, I was about to say, that doesn't look suspicious under an NFL investigation.
Apparently the attorneys can collude, just the teams can't collude. Is
Ah.
what I've heard. Yeah, so there's that. I did co-op multiplayer with Mark and the whole crew. Daniel and Robert were back. We gave a nice little farewell to Mr. Satoru Iwata, who passed away, Nintendo president and CEO, who gave us so many memories and great things during his run. And we also talked about Comic-Con and all the stuff going on with that. So you can check that out on our speaker page or wherever podcasts available. Mr. Randall did a podcast, TWE After Dark. Always check him out. And, of course, always check out Mr. Harry, Tony, and Jimmy Christopher doing the Raw reaction. They're getting quite a lot of callers over there. So, they've got that whole stuff with the US group working for them over there. So that's good. That's good to see. And, of course, you can also listen to Harry and Patrick on Wrestling Unwrapped on Friday nights as well. But I think this week it was Harry and somebody else. It wasn't Patrick. So, all right.
Yeah.
So, don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes. People have been doing that, not only for this show, but for the sports show as well. All of a sudden, one of my Gold Cup recaps jumped from having like 40 to like 300 something listens in like one day. I don't know how that happened, but that's crazy. So, whatever was due to that, go you guys. And you guys been helping out, getting the podcast out there with, we've been seeing the numbers jump up a lot recently, so thank you to everybody that's done that for all the reviews and all the word of mouth and everything, so always appreciate it. And again, thank you to Jacob and Chris Lemchi for being on and making the show a hell of a lot of fun, even though it was really long this week.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll be looking forward to talking to you guys on Sunday night, and have a great rest of the week. And until then, always remember, if you're not living life to the max,
not living life at all,
you know it.
Please.
Later.